Chapter 49. Originally, they thought that after the robot dance, there would be a speech on the stage. However, they didn't expect that the next round would be a row of racing cars. The roar of motors could be heard, and the audience all looked towards the direction of the sound. Cool mini racing cars drove up one after another from the four corners. The racing cars were sometimes fast and sometimes slow, sometimes left and sometimes right, as if they were teenagers who wanted to meet them. These racing cars had strange shapes and were fully functional. They had their own attack capabilities, and they would extend an arm from their body, as if they were shooting something into the distance. At this time, the host's voice sounded. This was a newly developed robot racing car that won the first prize in the International Robot Competition. It was currently used in some special vehicles in the country. This car was designed to have a shooting range of nearly 150 meters. Wow, this is really high-tech. I didn't expect an ordinary toy racing car to be transformed into a super-armored car. Kong Ming shouted excitedly. Then, the familiar entrance music sounded, and the host invited the leaders on the stage to take their seats. The national flag was raised, the national anthem was sung, and the president of the Computer Science Association gave a speech. His speech was very powerful. Most importantly, he hoped that the teenagers could unleash their potential and create more artificial intelligence products to be used in various fields of the country. After the speech, the host introduced the guests, judges, and the basic competition rules. Soon, the long-awaited competition would officially begin. Xiao Xiao, Kong Ming, and the other contestants came to the registration area. Coincidentally, they were in the same group. Xiao Xiao looked at the competition list. There were a total of 12 people in their group. He looked around. Among the 12 people, there were 2 girls, and the rest were boys. It seemed that most of the people who liked programming were boys. The 12 people were quite friendly. They didn't fight with each other, because they were about to become opponents. However, they were sizing each other up, evaluating each other, and their hearts were surging. Xiao Xiao was quite famous, because he was on Weibo. Basically, all 11 people knew him, and he responded enthusiastically. Soon, he had 11 more friends in his circle of friends. The venue had been cleared, and the entire space was empty. For the competition, several areas were set up to show the contestants a few stages. Every year, more and more people would sign up for the Information Science Olympiad. Many of the elites had already been eliminated through the preliminary and semifinals. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, had directly advanced to the finals with his aircraft competition program. Xiao Xiao estimated that there were a total of 8 groups of contestants, nearly 100 people. All of the contestants' eyes were filled with the desire to compete. The fact that they were able to make it to the finals was already proof of their excellence. Heroes vying for supremacy, all for the final crown. At this time, the live broadcast had been opened on Weibo. Looking at the players waiting for the stage, the comment section was full of expectations. Although it was not as popular as the stars in the entertainment circle, nearly 200,000 people in the IT circle had gathered in a short time. On the official website of the competition, the resumes of the finalists and their previous works were posted on the homepage for the netizens to carefully evaluate. I heard that this competition is not only scored by the live judges, but also by the public and online judges. It's so exciting. Kong Ming was so nervous that he was incoherent. Xiao Xiao had not studied so much. The little tadpoles in his mind were still chatting with each other and preparing for the competition. However, there was still a vast expanse of white in his mind. The little tadpoles passed by as if they did not see anything. In this layer of white fog, there was a sleeping tadpole. At this time, it turned over and continued to sleep. In the center of the venue, the equipment needed for the competition was placed on each plate. The seats were very high-end, the leather was shiny, and the softness was moderate. The computers on the table were all brand new, and each contestant had a special headset. Xiao Xiao sat in his contestant's seat, put on his headset, and struck a handsome pose with the cameraman. He was ready to start the competition. The first round of the competition was 2-on-1 PK. The loser would be directly eliminated. The opponents for the 2-on-2 PK would be selected by drawing lots. The screen was divided into 8 sections, and the information began to scroll quickly. Xiao Xiao saw that his name matched with another contestant named Wang Chang. Then the screen began to play their profiles. Number 3 Xiao Xiao, first year of high school, 3 months of schooling. Specializes in game programming. Previous entry, Airplane Wars. Number 8 Wang Chang, second year of high school, 8 years of schooling. Specializes in game programming. Previous entry, puzzle games. The venue was in an uproar. In addition to the audience, even the netizens on Weibo were shocked by this pair of contestants with the biggest gap in talent in history. It's so hard to name. This is not a joke, right? He's only a first year of high school, and he's only been studying for 3 months. He's already qualified for the finals? Little sweetie, there must be something shady about the organizing committee this time. Did he pull some strings to get in? Someone dug up Xiao Xiao's video from before and instantly realized that he was Professor He's last student. I hate shady deals. Could Professor He also approve of such underhanded methods? Compass to the north, Airplane Wars. That's too funny. Even a smart elementary school student can make it up. How can he participate in the competition? Sugar for life. Shady deals +1 Xiao Xiao and Wang Chang were unaware of these comments. At that moment, an interface popped up on their respective computers. Please type your battle declaration. In this, Xiao Xiao leaned back lazily and typed, I'm the champion. Arrogant and confident aura filled the screen. At that moment, Wang Chang's declaration exploded on the big screen in huge font. Haven't your hair grown out yet? Go home and drink some milk. Xiao Xiao rubbed his nose and remembered Wang Chang's WeChat profile picture. It was a cherry ball. He didn't expect a cherry ball to be so domineering. She really did have some milk. The audience laughed loudly, and Weibo was also filled with laughter. God lives in my house. That's right, that's right. Go home and drink some milk. Mu Xianfeng. The smell of gunpowder between the two of them is so strong. This Xiao Xiao is really overestimating himself. He actually said such arrogant words. Let's see how ugly his death will be later. Stay up until morning. If the champion looked like Xiao Xiao, it would be quite eye-catching. Plaid shirt. You're a love-struck fool, right? The IT industry doesn't need love-struck fools. We look at strength. You'd better go back to the entertainment industry. After all the teams finished displaying their declarations, the competition officially began. The first competition was to make up naked birds on the spot, within a set time to see who could write the most levels. The time limit was 3 hours, and the game had to be played smoothly. It looked simple, but many audience members fell to their knees. The naked birds that had once been popular all over the world had been developed by a team over a long time. If they had to write it in 3 hours, wouldn't they have to memorize the original program directly? They would also have to compete with their hand speed. Wang Chang looked at the competition question and felt relieved. He was best at puzzle games, and he had focused on studying the naked birds. He looked at the material given to him and began to type on the keyboard at a flying speed. At this time, a large screen was erected next to each of the 8 venues. It was divided into 4 areas for the PK team. Each area was directly connected to the contestant's computer, and the program written on the computer would be shared on the big screen in real time. At this time, Wang Chang had already begun to type the code quickly, while Xiao Xiao was still there in a daze. Xiao Xiao was in a dilemma. He was conflicted whether to copy the original program as it was, or make some changes himself. If he directly copied the original program, would it be suspected of plagiarism? In the eyes of the netizens, his hesitation became frowny-face brick-moving cola. Haha, Xiao Xiao really can't do it. He still can't type a line of code. The other contestants on the big screen have already started. It's better to go home and drink milk. Laughing my teeth off. Such a contestant still wants to win the championship. That's only the first round. At least he can write the first round. I really doubt the fairness of the competition. A netizen couldn't help but scold. Every competition has a shady background. I originally thought that the IT industry would be cleaner, but I didn't expect it to be like this. What happened? Look at how agitated you are. It's the information science Olympiad that Huagang participated in. In the end, there was a brat in high school who only learned programming for 3 months. I don't know how he got into the finals. Now he's exposed. Yanran, who was pouring water next to him, paused and asked, "Who are you talking about?" Looking at the introduction, it's Nanchuan. Yanran is from the same city as you. Yanran walked over and glanced at his phone. "Send it to me." While Xiao Xiao was thinking, the little tadpoles in his brain were not convinced. Copying the original program would be an insult to our intelligence. We can easily deal with the big one. Xiao Xiao looked at the little tadpoles who were full of confidence. He no longer hesitated and began to quickly scroll through the screen. The audience saw Xiao Xiao's interface on the big screen suddenly scrolling. With the speed of human eyes, it was impossible to keep up with the scrolling of the screen. The initial mocking and questioning gradually stopped, leaving only dumbfounded expressions. The stadium, which was originally like a duck pond, instantly quieted down. The audience, who were still talking with their heads lowered, were also affected by the strange atmosphere. It was as if someone suddenly said quiet, quiet, quiet on the stage, and then everyone turned to look at the source of the voice. They saw that the big screen had already switched to Xiao Xiao's interface. Someone looked at the rapidly scrolling screen and muttered to himself, "Is this an automatic program installation? Why isn't there even a progress bar?" Yanran, who was watching the live broadcast, burst out laughing. She knew that Xiao Xiao was the best at acting cool. Soon there was a wave of howls under Weibo. "Flower Fatty, is this the hand speed of a human?" "Drifting Ocean, this little brother, quickly come to the esports world. Once you come, there will be no one else." Black-hearted Orange Juice. This is 3,000 characters in a minute? It's completely unbelievable. Nordic Wolf, I was wrong. Just based on this hand speed, I'll take back what I said and kneel. However, there were also haters who jumped out and maintained a skeptical attitude. Frowny face. My family's cloth shop. What's the use of just having a fast hand speed? It depends on whether the program is good or not. When the time comes, don't fall into the trap. Chapter 50. 3 hours wasn't a long time, but it wasn't short either. At first, other than Xiao Xiao's hand speed, everyone else's speed was more or less the same. Wang Chong was relatively fast. After about 2 hours, nearly 1,000 lines of code had been completed, but everyone's speed had obviously slowed down. Only Xiao Xiao was like a perpetual motion machine. His speed did not slow down at all, and the number of lines of the program was still rising. There was a record of the number in the lower left corner of the screen. At this time, everyone could no longer be described as surprised. Everyone was shocked. It had already exceeded 5,000, and Xiao Xiao was still continuing. The program was not finished after it was written. Instead, it should be written while debugging. Huagang occasionally looked up at the screen. He was stunned for 2 seconds and suddenly turned to look at Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao was still leaning lazily against the back of the chair. His fingers seemed to be glued to the keyboard. The frequency and amplitude of his fingers could no longer be seen with the naked eye. Wang Chong's heart was in a storm. His heart was covered with dark clouds, and his nervous emotions overflowed like a flash flood. He bit his lip hard to calm himself down and cheer himself on. Just because the program was fast, it did not mean that the program would not be wrong. The more he made, the more mistakes he made. He saw that he could not catch up, so he simply checked the program he had written. At this time, the host's voice sounded. There were only 30 minutes left. Please debug as soon as possible. Xiao Xiao acted as if he did not hear it. He continued to tap on his program. Wang Chong had made up his mind. He wanted to make sure that the program he had written was not wrong. At this time, the audience and netizens also noticed this problem. Xiao Xiao was not debugging. Wild Summer. Does this Xiao Xiao know how to program? He has so many programs. It will be too late if he doesn't test it now. Rampage Demon. Or is the learning time too short? He is blindly confident in himself. What's the use of having a fast hand speed? Let's see how he cries. An experienced ape. As an experienced coder, I can tell you very clearly that this Xiao Xiao is a complete layman. I'm guessing that he must have memorized the program to be so confident. What I want to say is that no matter how much he plagiarized, it's impossible for him to be so perfect that there won't be any mistakes. At this time, the host seemed to have noticed the problem and emphasized again. Contestants, please quickly adjust. There are only 30 minutes left. Xiao Xiao also asked the little tadpoles in her mind if they needed to do some debugging. However, this group of arrogant little tadpoles was completely arrogant. Our program won't have any problems. Xiao Xiao despised these little tadpoles in her heart, and then let them be. However, he did not continue to type the code. It was enough, much more than Wang Chong beside him. Then he pretended to test the code. The interface on the big screen immediately showed everyone's debugging interface. As a contestant who had studied for many years, Wang Chong had his own set of debugging methods. It was very professional and very useful. He quickly checked a few small mistakes. Seeing that part of the program was running successfully, Wang Chong finally smiled. The audience saw that Xiao Xiao did not debug sentence by sentence. Instead, he directly clicked on running. Then a naked bird interface appeared on his interface. Xiao Xiao began to play level by level. The audience below was stunned. He finished debugging directly? It seems to have run successfully. It succeeded in one go? That's incredible. Yanran saw this and smiled slightly. She knew that Xiao Xiao could do it. Yanran, the number of times you've smiled today is more than yesterday. Is that so? Why didn't I know? Have you finished writing the report? Yanran stopped smiling and returned to her cold self. She asked indifferently. I'll write it right away. Xiao Xiao saw that he had succeeded. There were still more than 20 minutes left. He directly began to play games in his seat. Some netizens who had just come to watch the live broadcast questioned, "Isn't this a competition? How did it become a live game?" Just like that, while everyone was in a daze, time was up and the first round of the competition ended. All the contestants left their seats. Xiao Xiao's wrists and fingers were a little tired after typing for so long. He turned his hands as he walked. Kong Ming caught up from the side and handed Xiao Xiao a bottle of water. "Xiao Xiao, your hand speed just now was godly. How did you practice?" "Playing games. It's fast when you play too much." "I thought you were dating and chatting on QQ. No one can compare to your hand speed." "Dating? Brother, I'm only in my first year of high school. You want me to date early? What's wrong with being in your first year of high school? You're not young anymore. You have everything you need. Ha ha ha. You guy, I suspect you're driving." The two of them chatted as they walked to the lounge at the back to rest. Xiao Xiao didn't see that Hu Gang was following behind them. He heard everything they said. He secretly formed a spell and hit Xiao Xiao's neck. Xiao Xiao staggered from the hit and rushed forward. Fortunately, Kong Ming pulled him back. Xiao Xiao felt a little strange. He touched his neck and then looked back thoughtfully. Everything was normal. He didn't see anything strange. However, he felt that the hit was very similar to Yanran's technique. Strange. After the lunch break, it was time for the judges to check the program. The question this time wasn't difficult, but it wasn't easy either. If someone could memorize the source code of Naked Little Bird, then there wouldn't be a problem. But how could it be so simple? Not to mention where to find the source code. Even if it was found, it would be inconceivable to engrave it in one's mind. It was better to rely on one's own ability. It was more reliable to make it up line by line. The judges' evaluation criteria were as follows. 1. It must meet the project's requirements and operate normally. 2. The performance of the code must not be low. 3. The design must be extensible in the future. 4. It must not cause unnecessary maintenance costs. 5. It must not operate with low performance. 6. The code that isn't easy to understand needs to be commented. 7. It must be considered thoroughly. It must not be a code that works in most situations. It can't be a code that will die under the boundary conditions. The expert judges looked at the code one by one. The others didn't spend too much time. Only Xiao Xiao's code was evaluated by several judges because the process was too long. In the end, the scores were divided by several judges and then averaged. After the judges gave the scores, there was also a test by the public judges. This competition was the first innovation. Some esports experts from all over the country were invited to form a group of 40 public judges. They would play on the spot. These people's skills were very high. Naked Little Bird had all passed, so it should be the most legitimate to be judged by these players. Soon they were in place. Some people stood up after sitting down for less than 2 minutes, because after passing the first level, there was nothing left to play. Those who were better were able to play until the third stage. Wang Chong was considered to be quite good. The majority of the judges ended at the third stage. In the end, only one of the judges was sitting in his chair, unable to get up. When they saw that he was also in the third stage, they wondered why he was playing for so long. A group of judges surrounded him. At this time, they found that this was not the original third level of Crazy Little Bird, but it had been modified by Xiao Xiao. The difficulty had been raised by several levels. It was not easy to enter the fourth level with the help of everyone, but he was stumped again. This attracted a lot of attention from the scene and netizens. The new version of Naked Little Bird had come out, and it was more difficult. This news spread like wildfire in the esports and IT world. In the end, the judges were stuck at the fifth level. At this time, a strange phenomenon occurred. It was not that there was a problem with the programming, but that the level of the players was too low. In order to ensure the fairness of the judges, the host called Xiao Xiao up from the backstage and asked him to play through this level in front of everyone. Xiao Xiao was still a little confused when he came up. This was very simple. He just made a few moves and changed a few angles. He actually passed the level directly. The public judges were all great gods in the gaming world. At this time, they looked at Xiao Xiao with eyes full of worship. This video was a highlight of the live broadcast, but it was not known who cut it, and became the new version of Naked Little Bird's secret manual. The result of the first level was obvious. Xiao Xiao and Wang Chong's PK shocked everyone. It also made the national IT and esports circles know of Xiao Xiao's name. The first day of the competition ended. Because of Xiao Xiao's game, the public judges had delayed for a long time. Now the sun was setting in the west, but everyone present was still immersed in the excitement of the day. Hashtag Xiao Xiao's godly hand speed hashtag new naked little bird hashtag had become the hot search on Weibo. And Xiao Xiao, the protagonist, was very happy at this time, because he received a WeChat message from Yinran, congratulating him on passing the first level. Is there any reward? When you get the big prize, I promise to complete the mission. What reward do you want? Accompany me for a day. And then there was no more. As for Bing Shanyan, Xiao Xiao was very satisfied that she took the initiative to send him a WeChat message. From start to finish, it was less than 50 words. Xiao Xiao looked at it and smiled until his teeth could be seen. And Xiao Xiao's victory in the first round caused Hu Gang to feel very uncomfortable. He looked at the praises on Weibo, and the flame in his heart directly rose to the top of his head. The black blood in his blood took this opportunity to march on a large scale and occupy his territory. Hu Gang's first match was in the other group. He also directly advanced, but his glory was completely blocked by Xiao Xiao. If Xiao Xiao had successfully advanced, it wouldn't have been that hard to accept. But what made it hard for him to accept was that Xiao Xiao's level was clearly much higher than his. He couldn't catch up even if he climbed a few more steps. He couldn't accept it. In the world of cultivation, although he couldn't compare to Yin Ran, he was still a well-known figure among the younger generation. How could he lose to Xiao Xiao? He was now certain that Xiao Xiao's black aura had to be a problem. He was so strong during the competition. How could a normal cultivator be able to do that? Hu Gang concluded that even Yanran might not be able to reach this level. The seed of doubt in his heart had already been planted. It had now grown into a small tree. After being watered by the black blood, it bared its fangs and brandished its claws to provoke Hu Gang. If he didn't do something, his conscience would feel uneasy. Chapter 51. After a day of competition, the tadpoles in Xiao Xiao's mind were still working hard. After nearly 3 hours of high-intensity competition, the tadpoles were a little tired, and the signal they sent to Xiao Xiao was that they were lazily lying in their rooms and sleeping soundly. They were tired and so was Xiao Xiao. In order to recover his energy, Xiao Xiao lay on the bed after returning to his room and naturally used the spirit attraction technique. The surrounding spirit energy surged, making him feel as comfortable as if he was soaking in a hot spring. The spirit energy and devil energy merged into one, circulating in his body over and over again, nourishing the tadpoles in his mind. At this time, in a room with a layer of fog, a tadpole seemed to have woken up, but when it looked around, it didn't know where it was or where it was going. Xiao Xiao recalled today's competition. In fact, today's competition was very simple. He only needed to change the source code in his mind slightly and directly write it out. Fortunately, it wasn't a test of overall designability. If it was a test of creating a brand new large-scale program, it would be a little difficult for him. The tadpoles were also a little embarrassed at this point, feeling as if they were missing something. On a certain path, there was a place that they had neglected, so they couldn't connect it no matter how hard they tried. Xiao Xiao was also looking for this channel that could connect the circuits in his mind while he was using the spirit energy. The spirit energy mixed with devil energy nourished everywhere in his mind. And the tadpoles in the foggy room also felt the nourishment of the spirit energy. Although the environment was very comfortable, they couldn't get out. Gradually, it was midnight, and the whole hotel fell into silence. It was dark, and some evil thoughts floated to the surface. In the afternoon, Huagang secretly followed Xiao Xiao and watched him enter his room. Under the cover of the night, he went to the window of Xiao Xiao's room. He used magic to find a way to open the window and hid in it. Only a dim bedside lamp was turned on in the room. He saw Xiao Xiao lying on the bed with his eyes closed, and a circle of black devil energy lingered around his body. His tall figure and handsome face made him look like a noble prince who was in deep sleep. He was simply a monster. Huagang found it increasingly difficult to understand Yanran's words. He believed in his own judgment. This person would definitely be an evil person in the future. Even if he didn't do anything evil now, when his devil chi erupted in the future, it would be a disaster for the human world. Furthermore, the purity of his devil chi had already surpassed the limits of humans. It could be seen from today's competition that humans were like ants in front of him. What Huagang wanted to do today was to strangle this elephant in the cradle. As the spiritual energy became more and more abundant, the little tadpoles in Xiao Xiao's mind became energetic again. Especially the tadpole that was locked in the misty house. It began to scurry around, trying to find an exit. It could vaguely hear a commotion outside. It moved closer to the source of the commotion. Sure enough, there seemed to be many of its kind walking around, chatting loudly and making a ruckus. It shouted loudly. At first, it did not attract any attention, but as it continued to shout, there seemed to be some response from outside. Listen, there seems to be a sound. The little tadpoles collectively quieted down and pricked up their ears to listen carefully. Indeed, there seemed to be another tadpole's cry for help. Oh no, our partner is trapped. Everyone think of a way to save him. The group of little tadpoles found the source of the sound and began to desperately squeeze into the misty room. At this time, Xiao Xiao's head began to sweat because the little tadpoles in his mind were fighting with the layer of mist. They twisted themselves into pillars and desperately crashed into the layer of mist. Like soldiers besieging a city, they used all their strength to break through the city. Following the repeated collisions, the thick fog seemed to have loosened a little. Keep up the good work, brothers. Victory is in front of us. At this time, Huagang had been observing for a long time. He found that Xiao Xiao, who was sleeping on the bed, began to sweat. He knew that this was the most critical moment for a practitioner, and also the weakest moment. If he attacked at this time, he would definitely succeed in one fell swoop. He no longer hesitated. He raised his right hand and mobilized all the strength in his body. A white light shot toward Xiao Xiao's head. Bang! Xiao Xiao's head suddenly suffered a heavy blow. At this time, the little tadpoles, who were at the critical moment, were knocked into dizziness. All the tadpoles were knocked out, and their whole bodies floated around in the brain circuit. Every tadpole was knocked dizzy. At this time, the city gate that they were attacking was broken, but the tadpole that lived inside was not spared. It was also knocked out and floated around in the brain circuit like the other tadpoles. Xiao Xiao instinctively reacted. Because his whole brain was in chaos, he could not wake up at all. He could only rely on instinct. The devil energy in his body instantly exploded, and the black gas shrouded the whole room to resist the sudden attack. Hua Gang, on the other hand, fell to the corner of the wall because of the sudden reaction force and the pressure of the black gas. The whole space around him was like a wall rapidly approaching him, making it impossible for him to dodge. He could only mobilize all the energy in his body to resist, but this resistance was only a small wave in the sea. How could he resist a monstrous wave? Hua Gang did not have the strength to resist at all. The devil energy and the reaction force made him feel that his whole body had suffered a heavy blow. Puff! He spat out a mouthful of blood. He did not dare to stay any longer. He quickly returned the way he came and left Xiao Xiao's room. When he returned to his room, he hurriedly circulated his qi and adjusted his breathing. He did not expect this Xiao Xiao to be so powerful. He lay on the bed and gasped for breath. He was like a patient who lacked oxygen. This impact made his internal organs faintly vibrate. However, he did not dare to go to the hospital. He found a few pills and took them. In his heart, he listed Xiao Xiao as his #1 enemy. Xiao Xiao directly fainted on the bed. He was unconscious because the little tadpoles in his brain had not woken up yet. Just like that, he remained unconscious until the next morning. The next morning, Weibo exploded. There was a sudden accident in the Information Science Olympiad. Xiao Xiao, who was ranked first in the first round, suddenly fainted last night. He was sent to the hospital and was still unconscious. The doctor said that the cause was unknown. It might be due to the impact of a heavy object. So far, the organizers had reported it, but no clues had been found. According to speculation, if Xiao Xiao did not wake up before 11 o'clock today, he would not be able to participate in today's competition. In other words, this genius contestant would be eliminated. The host's words were like a heavy punch to the hearts of all the netizens and audience. Everyone's appetite had been whetted yesterday, anticipating Xiao Xiao's even more amazing performance that day. No one had expected such a shocking turn of events. Professor He's heart immediately ached. He said in the interview that this genius youngster had been discovered by chance and had only just begun to shine in the preliminaries, but unexpectedly encountered such a disaster. We all wish him well and hope that he wakes up soon. We also asked the organizers to come up with an emergency plan for today. Fantasy Westward Journey. Someone must be jealous, using such despicable methods. The organizers and public security must investigate properly. Don't let the bad guys succeed. Where did time go? Hope Xiao Xiao wakes up soon. Try to make it for today's competition. I really want to watch him compete. Cat from the North, please postpone the competition. It is my home. Please postpone the competition +1. I love freedom. Pray for Xiao Xiao. Pomelo Blossoms, pray for Xiao Xiao. There was already a long queue on Weibo with two main requests. One was to ask the organizers to postpone the competition, and two was to pray for Xiao Xiao. Soon, the postponement of the Information Science Olympiad and praying for Xiao Xiao became the top searches on Weibo. On the way back to Nanchuan, Little Six saw the news and said casually, Hua Gang's competition sure is full of twists and turns. One of the contestants, Xiao Xiao, was attacked and fainted. Everyone on Weibo is calling for the competition to be postponed. Yinran's head whipped around when she heard this. What did you say? Who was attacked and fainted? It's the one called Xiao Xiao. Let's go to Xining City. Yinran, why are we going to Xining City? There's an important mission there, turn around. After Xiao Xiao was taken to the hospital, he was sent directly to the intensive care unit at the organizer's request. He was fitted with an electrocardiogram and brainwave machine. Various machines were strapped to his head, and it was extremely uncomfortable. But Xiao Xiao still wouldn't wake up. The various tests from the machines made the little tadpoles in his head even more uncomfortable and caused him to feel even more dizzy. Professor He, the hotel representative, and a police officer discussed Xiao Xiao's condition with the doctor at the door. The doctor said, According to the tests, there's nothing serious. He might have fainted from the impact. We don't know when he'll wake up. That'll be up to him. Professor, he couldn't accept this. You have to give me an explanation. What kind of security measures do you have in place? Why would someone attack him? Officer, do you have any leads on your end? Would he be attacked for no reason? There are no surveillance cameras in the hotel room. We're still investigating. However, we did find a footprint on the window. Someone probably snuck into the room through the window. Are there no surveillance cameras elsewhere? They can't see where this person came from? Please calm down, Professor. We're also investigating. Everyone is very sorry about what happened to Xiao Xiao. The most important thing now is for Xiao Xiao to wake up. Professor, he paced back and forth anxiously in the corridor. Due to the appeal on Weibo, the organizers were also discussing whether to postpone the competition. The public is too vocal, but we have no responsibility for Xiao Xiao's injury. Agreeing to postpone the competition would have too big of an impact and be unfair to the other contestants. But we still have to give the public an explanation. How about this? If Xiao Xiao can wake up before noon today, we can allow him to compete in the long-distance competition. That'll be a compromise on our part. Just like that, 11 p.m. became the deadline. If Xiao Xiao couldn't finish the competition before then, he would be eliminated. Chapter 52. Soon, the competition committee issued an official announcement on the official Weibo. In response to the public reaction caused by Xiao Xiao's incident, they specially decided to allow Xiao Xiao to participate in the long-distance competition before 11 o'clock. However, if he did not finish the competition before 11 o'clock, he would be automatically disqualified. Hua Gang suddenly threw his phone away. What kind of *T committee was this? They even opened the back door, which was very unfair to others. Did they allow someone to participate in the long-distance competition just because someone was sick? He immediately scolded on Weibo, and many haters also joined him in questioning the fairness of the competition committee. However, compared to the power of the praise, these haters were negligible. So everyone's eyes were focused on 11 o'clock. Drive faster, faster. Yanran kept urging. She set out at 7 o'clock in the morning and had been rushing on the highway. It turned out that she had turned into Nanchuan and was heading to Xining City from the highway entrance. According to the map, she still had 2 hours before she arrived. The car was already flying. Little Six said anxiously, Yanran, what urgent task is it? Safety is also very important. The car is going 180 kilometers per hour. It's about a person's life. So be it. I'll take the ticket. The car was like an arrow leaving the bow, flying on the highway. Soon, the Highway Management Center noticed the abnormality of the car. They were ready to intercept them at the next intersection. A large group of reporters had already gathered at the entrance of the hospital. They were very concerned about whether Xiao Xiao could wake up or not. The whole hospital thought that a big shot had come. They checked their patient from top to bottom and found that they were waiting for Xiao Xiao to wake up. Looking at Xiao Xiao's appearance, the hospital automatically defined him as a star in the entertainment industry. However, they searched for a long time, but there was no star named Xiao Xiao in the entertainment industry. While it was bustling outside, Xiao Xiao began to struggle inside his body. In his subconscious mind, he seemed to remember that he had something to attend today, but these little tadpoles seemed to have completely forgotten. In the depths of his memory, the two began to fight. Gradually, a little tadpole was disturbed and woke up. It saw that its companions were all floating in the air in a daze, so it quickly tried to wake them up. However, his strength alone was too weak. After shouting for a long time, he only managed to wake up a few people. There were hundreds of thousands of little tadpoles in Xiao Xiao's head. What was he going to do? Yanran and the others had already arrived at the highway intersection. At this moment, a police car stopped beside them and shouted at them, "Please stop the car. Please stop the car for inspection." The driver looked at Yanran. "Do you want to stop?" Yanran looked at the police car that was glaring at them. She opened the window and threw something out. Then she ordered the driver, "Keep driving. Don't stop." Someone got out of the police car and picked up the things that had been thrown down. He was just a small police officer and didn't understand anything. He could only chase after the speeding car and continue to shout, "Please stop for inspection." But in the blink of an eye, the car disappeared from his sight. He immediately reported to his superior, took a picture of what he had picked up, and posted it. Soon he received an order. "Stop tracking and don't interfere." The police officer looked at the message in his hand in a daze. After repeatedly calling to confirm, he realized that it was someone he could never afford to offend in his life. Then, the speeding car drove to the first hospital in Xining City. They found that there were a lot of reporters at the entrance of the hospital. Yanran said, "Go straight to the basement." Then, after some disguise, she put on a nurse's uniform and went to Xiao Zhao's ward. There were also several reporters at the door of the ward. The doctor was checking the ward, and Yanran silently hid at the back. She watched the doctor carefully examine Xiao Zhao's body, and then go out with a group of people. She didn't go out with them, but stayed at the back. Yanran directly hung the "Do Not Disturb" sign on the door and locked it directly. She walked to Xiao Zhao's side and observed the devil's aura all over his body. At this time, what surrounded his body was actually the Reiki automatically attracted by the spirit attraction spell. It mixed with his devil's aura and circulated around his body. Yanran found that the Reiki and the devil's aura stopped moving around Xiao Zhao's head, like a cover, surrounding his whole head. Here it is. Only the circulation of the aura could cause the normal operation of the human body. Yanran raised her hand and used her own Reiki to comfort the gray cover wrapped around Xiao Zhao's head. Yanran's ancestors practiced medicine, and her family had a unique skill: repair. At this time, it was time for her to play the biggest role. Yanran used her palm to slowly guide the flow of the air cover above Xiao Zhao's head. The gray cover was like an obedient child, slowly revolving around Yanran's hand around Xiao Zhao's head. Xiao Zhao only felt that his head entered a gentle embrace, warm and gentle. The little tadpoles that were originally in a mess in his head were sent into their respective rooms one by one. The little tadpoles soaked comfortably in the water. They were no longer at a loss, but gradually found their home and their consciousness. When they woke up, it was as if they had encountered a great disaster, and they couldn't remember what had happened at all. But they found that there were a few new members. These new members were the tadpoles that were originally locked in the room shrouded in fog. Now they were finally released and joined with the other tadpoles. Everything was so beautiful. Xiao Zhao's brain was like a machine that had some lubricant added to it, and it began to work quickly. When Xiao Zhao opened his eyes, he saw Yanran holding his head in the air with her eyes closed, guiding the air flow around him slowly. At this time, Yanran was as fresh as a water lily in the sky. A few strands of hair fell on her pale face. Her hair was slightly messy, as if she hadn't taken care of it seriously in the morning. She was wearing a nurse's uniform and a mask on her face. Her slender and round fingers were crystal clear, as if they had magic. Her eyelashes trembled slightly, and tiny beads of sweat appeared on her forehead. Xiao Zhao looked at her in a daze. Once again, it was Yanran who saved him. He stretched out his right hand and gently held Yanran's hand that was stroking his head. Yanran opened her eyes and met Xiao Zhao's surprised and grateful and moved eyes. "Thank you, Yanran, for saving me again." Yanran wanted to withdraw her hand, but Xiao Zhao didn't let go. He firmly grasped Yanran's fingers and pulled her closer to him. He said to her again, "Thank you, Yanran. I've troubled you again." Yanran withdrew her hand again. This time Xiao Zhao didn't insist. Yanran said indifferently, "Why did you trouble me again this time?" Xiao Zhao scratched his head and sat up from the bed. "I guess I'm too handsome. Someone wants to destroy my handsome face." Yanran was suddenly amused by him. "I think it's your mouth that's too cheap, causing others to take revenge." Xiao Zhao pouted and looked very wronged. "I really didn't do anything. I just took part in a game yesterday." "Are you okay now? Can you continue the game?" "Okay, I'm fine. But I should be disqualified. There's no time." Xiao Zhao looked at the clock on the wall and shook his head helplessly. "I don't think so. The organizing committee has agreed to let you participate in the game remotely. You still have half an hour." "Really? That's great." Xiao Xiao jumped up from the bed. Yanran, you said that you would reward me if I won the prize. Just wait and see. I won't let you down. Yanran looked at Xiao Xiao, who was alive and kicking again, like a fish in the water. The tension in her heart was finally relieved. I'll wait for your good news. I have to go first. Yanran, aren't you going to stay with me? Xiao Xiao was like a dependent child at this time, reluctant to let her go. You're always like this when you're sick. I really have something to do today. I'll wait for your good news online. All right. Xiao Xiao knew that Yanran didn't seem to like him clinging to her, so he could only watch as she left the room. Xiao Xiao's thoughts turned. He already understood that someone must not want him to participate in today's competition. Sorry to disappoint you. Xiao Xiao left the room and found Professor He. Computers and cameras were already set up outside to prepare for Xiao Xiao to wake up. Professor He was extremely excited as soon as he saw Xiao Xiao wake up. Can you finish the competition? Leave it to me, Professor. Don't worry. The contestants were given a long section of code for the second round of the competition. The final goal was to simulate the detailed movements of a robotic arm. There seemed to be a problem with the simulated arm on the computer. Only one arm moved up and down awkwardly and couldn't move in different directions according to instructions. The fingers in front of the arm were pressed together and couldn't make any finer movements. There was only half an hour left before Professor He was asked to leave the room. Several cameras and internet were streaming live. 2 minutes had already been wasted from the moment Xiao Xiao walked into the room, sat down in front of the computer, and began to read the questions. The internet was also excited when the organizers announced that Xiao Xiao had woken up. Dreaming of the earth, he's awake, he's awake. Xiao Xiao is finally awake. I'm waiting for him to create another legend. Egg's my favorite, that's a joke. There's less than half an hour left. Do you think he's a god? I am the entire harem. Why don't you go sleep a bit more? At least you'll be able to keep your score from the first round. Chi on the door. Can he do it or not? Did they do it on purpose? They even made up news about him being knocked unconscious. Peach tea, I believe in Xiao Xiao. I'll wait for him to create a miracle. The online comments instantly split into two factions. Even if they were arguing fiercely, there were only 20 minutes left. The internet fell silent in no time, because Xiao Xiao had already started to solve the questions. There were around 1,000 lines of code in total. He first scanned it from top to bottom, then his fingers flew over the keyboard. Chapter 53. This time, he opened the testing software, but unlike others who tested line by line, he tested section by section. His hand speed and eye speed shot up like a rocket. The audience could keep up with his speed in the beginning, but as the screen scrolled up and down, the code quickly became a blur of white in the audience's eyes. The scrolling wheel moved up and down, and the screen flashed with occasional pauses. The audience wanted to see which line he had changed, but before they could see the number of lines, he had already finished changing. The standard answer seemed to be in Xiao Xiao's mind. He could accurately locate the line and quickly correct it. After he was done, he didn't even need to run the program, and directly corrected the next error. The 1,000 lines of code were quickly changed, and Xiao Xiao rewrote a large section. Shocked to the core. Why did he delete this section? Didn't you say you could only make changes? Isn't that against the rules? Plaid shirt. As a senior programmer, let me tell you, if the code is too long, of course you can delete it and rewrite it. Xiao Xiao sat there, his long legs stretched lazily under the table. His movements were as smooth as flowing water, like the program was child's play to him, and he handled it with ease. Flying in June. That's way too casual. King in land. Is he sure he changed everything correctly? I haven't seen him test it yet. Professor He, who was standing at the door, also broke out in a cold sweat on his behalf. Although Professor He often saw him calmly finish a program, and didn't have the habit of running it as he tested it, how could he be as flawless as before under such tight circumstances? Time passed by, and soon there were only 5 minutes left. Xiao Xiao typed the last key on the keyboard. Then he said to the staff member, "Do you have water? I didn't drink any water yet." The staff member was taken aback by his actions. There's only 5 minutes left. Do you want to finish the competition first? Xiao Xiao heard the uncertainty in the staff member's voice. Oh, you mean this? I'm already done. Take a look. Xiao Xiao clicked run, and the simulated mechanical arm began to move agilely. Look, isn't it moving quite happily? I also improved its accuracy. Originally, it could only move its fingers in a small area. Now I can make its 5 fingers cooperate with each other to grab things. The staff went forward to take a look. It was true. He saw the mechanical arm's thumb and index finger pressed together, as if it was pinching something. As for the other 3 fingers, Xiao Xiao turned it in a different direction. The staff saw that it was an okay gesture. I've submitted it. Can you get me a glass of water now? Thank you. Xiao Xiao's smile was like a blooming epiphyllum that had been waiting for a long time in the night. It only lasted for a few seconds, but it was incomparably brilliant. The staff member's face suddenly turned red and her heart thumped. She hurriedly said, "Wait a moment, I'll go get some water." Xiao Xiao's blooming smile and mechanical arm's okay gesture had been captured by many netizens. Waiting to become a Buddha. That's it? You're done? It's not time yet. Plaid shirt. He succeeded just like that. That's unbelievable. Senior ape. Other people couldn't finish after 3 hours, but Xiao Xiao only took 20 minutes. Is he even human? Professor, he couldn't stop smiling as he watched from the outside. His original worry disappeared. He knew this was a genius young man. The host was also shocked by Xiao Xiao's performance. He carefully chose his words and finally had no choice but to say dryly, "We congratulate Xiao Xiao for completing the task within the allotted time. Time's up. The papers will be handed in at 11 o'clock sharp." There were a total of 50 people present, and only about a third of them had completed on time. Next, we will invite the contestants to rest in the backstage. We will invite the on-site judges and public judges to come up and inspect them. The inspection this time was relatively simple, unlike the first round, which had required the contestants to play it on the spot. A mechanical arm was directly transported on stage. After the program was connected, the judges only needed to look at the arm's operation to determine whether the program was good or bad. Some contestants knew they hadn't finished modifying their program, so the mechanical arm froze after moving slightly. These contestants were also able to see the live evaluation results from backstage. When they saw the stalled program, they all lowered their heads in silence. However, there were also some who ran successfully. A third of them completed on time, and most of them had successfully modified their program. Hua Gang endured the tightness in his chest for 3 hours, and hurriedly completed the final modification before 11 o'clock p.m. When it was his turn to be tested, he was so nervous that his palms were sweating. He hadn't run the program yet, so he knew there were still some bugs that he hadn't had time to modify. However, among all the contestants, he was still considered the most outstanding. The judges gave him a score of advancement. He sighed in relief. He had finally made it to the finals. Finally, it was Xiao Xiao's turn. The audience's expectant gazes were all on him. After the program was connected, rhythmic music began to play in real time. Then the mechanical arm first slowly lifted up, then waved at the audience. Then it began to move up and down to the rhythm of the music. As it moved down, a sensor on its head lit up a red light. It detected a small object on the ground not far away from it. Therefore, the arm automatically reached down and used its thumb and index finger to pick up the small object and place it on the stage below the arm. Finally, the song ended. The arm raised up and made an okay sign to everyone. Then it waved again and froze there. Professor, he was going to use the next few days to visit his good friend, so he reminded Xiao Xiao to be careful. The investigation at the hotel was still inconclusive, in case someone tried it again. The only thing Xiao Xiao had to do for the next 2 days was to go to the police station to cooperate with the investigation. He already made an appointment with the police the next morning. After getting ready, he hailed a taxi to the police station. After the incident last time, he had already been transferred to another room. The security measures had been increased a level. Other than the bathroom, which had no cameras. The police had installed cameras in every room. Xiao Xiao had to talk to the police about this. So why did they install cameras in his room as well? He had no freedom or privacy at all. He wanted to change to another room. But the hotel said that it was arranged by the police and refused to allow him to change rooms. Now he couldn't leave or change rooms, so he could only ask the police for help. The police station was overcrowded with people who were here to do their jobs. Xiao Xiao used the phone call from before to find an Officer Zhang handling the case. Officer Zhang was working on something with another officer in front of the computer. The two of them were so focused that they did not notice that Xiao Xiao had walked to their side. Their computer was showing a video, and they were watching it over and over again. However, because the video quality was low, it wasn't very clear. The screen showed a person with a very low cap withdrawing money from an ATM. F***CK. The quality is too low. I can't see anything clearly. Even the basic features are blocked, Officer Zhang complained. The technicians said the original video was fine, but for some reason, the quality became like this when we got our hands on it. Can they reconstruct it? They said it would be very difficult. They don't have the most advanced equipment or professional personnel. This case has been dragging on for a long time, and the higher-ups are already angry. They thought it was a small case, but they didn't expect to be stuck on the video. The two officers were so focused that Xiao Xiao shouted several times, but no one responded. Xiao Xiao had to pat Officer Zhang on the shoulder. Officer Zhang, I'm Xiao Xiao. Chapter 54. Wait a minute. Officer Zhang was very impatient. He waved his hand behind him and slapped Xiao Xiao's hand away. His eyes were still fixed on the computer screen. Xiao Xiao had no choice but to reach out and block the front of the computer. Hey kid, where did you come from? You're disrupting police work. Officer Zhang, it's me. Officer Zhang finally realized that the boy in front of him with hooked eyes was the main character of the case. He was in charge of that day. Oh, it's you, Xiao Xiao. Wait a minute, I'm busy with something else. Xiao Xiao looked and said to Officer Zhang. Do you need help? What help? Officer Zhang didn't turn his head. He repeatedly clicked on the video with the mouse. I'll help you clear up this video. You know how to do this? Right, you're here for the competition, right? Come, sit. Officer Zhang's wrinkled face smiled like a morning glory. He pulled Xiao Xiao to sit down. Can this be saved? I heard it was very clear. Then the disc was damaged during the transmission. Let me save it for you. Thus, Officer Zhang and his other colleague watched Xiao Xiao's fingers fly and dance on the keyboard. On the computer screen, lines of code seemed to be hacked into by a hacker. The policeman next to him asked, You really know how to do this? This is a police station's computer. Don't do anything bad. Xiao Xiao raised his head and glanced at him. The corners of his eyes curled up. Why don't you find someone else to try? The simple-minded policeman scratched his head. Hee, I don't mean anything else. I just don't understand. It's good that you don't understand. Xiao Xiao didn't say anything else. He seriously began to restore the data of the video. Officer Zhang and his colleagues stared fixedly at the screen, trying to figure out what was going on. However, there was no blooming on the screen. After about half an hour, the original clear video was played. Xiao Xiao, you are awesome. Officer Zhang patted Xiao Xiao's shoulder happily. He was now beaming with joy. I didn't expect you to be so handsome, and your computer skills are really good. The naive police officer also gave Xiao Xiao a thumbs up. I'm impressed. Then, the two police officers put Xiao Xiao aside and watched the video carefully. After a while, they finally found a clue and smiled with satisfaction. We can finally close the case. I knew it was this person. There must be something wrong with him. At this time, Officer Zhang found that Xiao Xiao was still waiting for him. This time, he was not impatient at all. He put on a sincere smile and said with appreciation, Young man, you're really good. You've helped us a lot. The naive police officer quickly asked Xiao Xiao to sit down and offered him a cup of hot tea. Xiao Xiao cleared his throat. I'm here today to ask about my case. I'm sorry, Xiao Xiao. Your case is actually a bit complicated. We haven't found any clues yet. Officer Zhang rubbed his hands embarrassedly. I'm here today to discuss with you whether you can remove the camera in my room. This way, there will be someone watching me when I sleep in bed. It's too awkward. This is actually to protect your safety. We are worried that the suspect will make another move if his first attack fails. Officer Zhang explained to Xiao Xiao. I suspect that the person who framed me is the one who came to participate in the competition this time. I think his goal is to prevent me from participating in the competition on the second day. You can focus on the other contestants. Xiao Xiao directly gave his analysis. We have the same suspicion, but we haven't found the corresponding evidence. Plus, there are a lot of people. It will take time to investigate bit by bit. We checked the cameras around you, but we haven't found anything yet. So we can only wait for his next move. We have used the camera to set up a trap, and are waiting for him to walk into it. Then the camera outside should be fine. Can you remove the one in my room? It's too inconvenient. Officer Zhang was a bit troubled. Xiao Xiao used his eyes to signal Officer Zhang to look at his computer. If you don't remove it for me, then I will find a way to block it. Okay then. But the alarm in the room can't be removed. If you find anything strange, you have to contact us immediately. No problem. Xiao Xiao had achieved his goal, so he didn't stay any longer. He said goodbye and went home. Officer Zhang was full of praise for Xiao Xiao. I saw the video of your competition. It was a complete sweep. The other contestants are on a completely different level from you. I have high hopes for you to be the champion this time. In the future, if there are any computer cases in the police station, can I ask you for help? It's my duty to serve the people. Xiao Xiao patted his chest and winked at Officer Zhang. You little guy, you're too handsome. Don't wink at me. You're making my heart tremble. Officer Zhang joked and waved goodbye to Xiao Xiao enthusiastically. Xiao Xiao called a taxi and was about to return to the hotel when his phone rang. It was a WeChat message from Yanran. Did the police say anything? Always concise and to the point, it was Yanran's style. I just went to the police station. They said there are no clues yet. Do you have any suspects in mind? I'm loved by everyone. Why would anyone dislike me? Xiao Xiao sent Yanran a selfie of himself. Don't go out for the next 2 days. Stay in the hotel and be careful. Okay. Also, Hua Gang from our team will be competing with you. If you have any problems, you can ask him for help. Who's Hua Gang? He's the one we met at the Japanese restaurant. Are you sure he's a good person? Could it be that he's the one who set me up? No, Hua Gang is a good person, Yanran said firmly. Xiao Xiao had some doubts in his heart, but he still agreed with Yanran. Hua Gang laid in the hotel for a day. The discomfort in his chest finally subsided. Just then, he received a call from Yanran. Hua Gang, this is Yanran. I have something to ask of you. Yanran's cold voice came through the phone. Hua Gang rarely received calls from Yanran outside of work. When he saw that the caller ID was Yanran, his chest no longer hurt. He jumped out of bed in surprise. Yanran, just say it. I'll help you if I can. I have a classmate who's participating in the same competition as you. His name is Xiao Xiao. But 2 days ago he was attacked. I hope you can pay more attention and see if there's any danger around him. Hua Gang didn't speak for a long time. Hello Hua Gang, are you listening? After a while, Hua Gang's dry voice came through. Yanran, why are you so concerned about him? He's my classmate. Okay, I got it. After hanging up the phone, Hua Gang's heart felt like it was tightly caught by a fishing net. His heart was about to bleed, and the sharp pain in his chest came again. Hua Gang thought it was ridiculous. He was the one who attacked Xiao Xiao, and Yanran actually asked him to take care of him. How ridiculous. He was already possessed by a demon. The more Yanran protected him, the crazier he felt in his heart. As the saying goes, know thyself and know thy enemy to be victorious. An even more vicious plan sprouted in Hua Gang's heart. The next morning, Xiao Xiao went to the hotel's restaurant alone. The buffet was quite rich, and he was very full. He met a few players who were participating in the same competition. Kong Ming was also there, and they chatted happily. They agreed to play games together. Xiao Xiao thought that since he had nothing to do, he might as well go. At this moment, a voice came from behind. Bring me along. Xiao Xiao turned around and saw a square face with an awe-inspiring righteousness. Xiao Xiao remembered that it was Hua Gang, whom he had met before. Hi Xiao Xiao, we meet again. Yesterday, Yanran called me and asked me to care about you. Hua Gang smiled brightly. Okay, let's play games together. It's my treat. Xiao Xiao was still as generous and carefree as ever. Xiao Xiao, let's celebrate you getting first place. Also, let's go wash away your bad luck and relax. You'll be safe with us. The group of people laughed and joked as they marched towards the internet cafe next to the hotel. These computer experts could sweep away thousands of soldiers in the internet cafe. Xiao Xiao didn't even need to do anything. Their team had already won several times. Logically speaking, they were the top computer enthusiasts in China. These games were just a small matter to them. Soon they were surrounded by a group of people. Seeing them play games, some of them even recognized Xiao Xiao. Wow! I can see Almighty Qiao's hand speed with my own eyes. This group of experts is too good. Almighty Qiao doesn't even need to do anything. He's already done. Asking for the size of the opponent's trauma. After the first round, Xiao Xiao needed to go to the toilet. After saying goodbye to everyone, he went straight to the toilet. When Hua Gang saw Xiao Xiao leave, he secretly followed behind. The toilet in the internet cafe was only found after a few turns. When Xiao Xiao came out of the alley, he happened to pass by a dark corridor. Xiao Xiao didn't pay much attention to it. He put his hands in his pockets and walked over lazily. But at this moment a sound came from above. When Xiao Xiao heard the sound, he looked up. The lamp above his head, and the lampshade came crashing down on his head. He dodged to the side, and his self-protection magic rushed up from the top of his head. His feet slipped to the side, and with the help of the magic, he slid the lamp to the side of his body. It crashed to the ground with a bang. At this moment, Xiao Xiao was pulled to the side. Xiao Xiao looked back. It was Hua Gang. Are you okay? I saw it rushing over. I thought it was too late. Luckily you dodged it. Hua Gang showed a concerned expression. Yeah, I'm fine. The lamp didn't scare Xiao Xiao. Instead, it was Hua Gang who pulled him that caught him off guard. He looked at Hua Gang's concerned face. Maybe Yanran was right. Hua Gang had some skills and wouldn't harm him. Thanks, bro. The two of them walked back to the internet cafe, as if they were brothers. They continued to play for a while. When it was time for lunch, the few of them were bored. The opponent's skills were too weak. The group of people went back to the hotel. Xiao Xiao, I'm going back first. Call me if you need anything. Before Hua Gang left, he left his phone number with Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao felt that it was a little troublesome for him to go out. Why did the lamp fall down on his head? It was better to listen to Yanran and stay in the hotel. However, things didn't go as planned. He received a call from Professor Wang in the afternoon. Professor Wang asked him to help debug Mount Tai's program while he was free. Xiao Xiao was interested in this matter, but he was a little worried about going out. He thought about it again and again. He called Officer Zhang and told him his schedule. He packed up and went out quickly. Hua Gang was worried that Xiao Xiao would stay in the hotel. How could he lure it out? He sat in the hotel lobby and ordered a cup of coffee. He was thinking about what to do. He was worried about not having a pillow when he saw Xiao Xiao go out. Chapter 55. Xiao Xiao went out and hailed a taxi. Hua Gang did not hesitate, and directly got into the taxi behind Xiao Xiao. He curled up his body in the back seat, and sat behind the driver, to prevent the person in front from seeing him from the rearview mirror. Xiao Xiao's taxi drove for about 20 minutes, and stopped at the entrance of a high-end residential area. Then, Xiao Xiao got out of the car and registered at the residential area's security office. The security guard called to confirm Xiao Xiao's identity before letting him in. Hua Gang was puzzled. How could Xiao Xiao know someone here? He secretly recorded a video. Because the residential area's security was very strict, Hua Gang could only wait at the entrance. Xiao Xiao stayed there for more than 2 hours. When he came out, a middle-aged man patted Xiao Xiao's shoulder and sent Xiao Xiao out while talking and laughing. Hua Gang still recorded a video. The more he looked at the middle-aged man, the more familiar he looked. Then, he suddenly remembered that he was one of the judges. How could this be? Could it be that Xiao Xiao had some shady business with him? A contestant meeting a judge in private. This was big news. Hua Gang did not expect to find such an explosive piece of news when he was following Xiao Xiao. He made some changes to his original plan and started to get busy when he returned to the hotel. Xiao Xiao was at Professor Wang's house. He helped him debug Tarzan's program. Professor Wang admired him very much. His robot had finally solved its top-heavy problem and became more agile. This robot was like Professor Wang's child. He invited a professional teacher like Xiao Xiao to help the child's grades improve by leaps and bounds. How could he not be happy? Therefore, when it was over, he personally sent Xiao Xiao out of the neighborhood. He didn't expect that this would give Hua Gang an opportunity. 3 days passed quickly. On the third day, the contestants were not so free. In order to coordinate with the promotion of the finals, everyone went to record a VCR. Xiao Xiao did not encounter any other dangers, so he went straight to the day of the finals. Today's finals could be said to be the center of attention. Weibo was already very popular because of the previous 2 competitions, and today's event was even more spectacular. The number of people watching the live broadcast online was nearly 10 times more than before. This made the organizing committee of the Information Science Olympiad very happy. The more people there were watching the competition, the higher the popularity of the competition. This would attract more talents to join the study of information science. They felt that Xiao Xiao, who had attracted the most attention, was a very good spokesperson. Xiao Xiao was young, had strong professional abilities, and was also handsome. The power of a celebrity role model was boundless, and it would affect the perception of the younger generation. The organizing committee was very optimistic about Xiao Xiao. They were waiting for him to win today's finals and invite him to be the spokesperson of the Information Science Olympiad. The comments on the internet were even more one-sided. Everyone was looking forward to Xiao Xiao's dazzling performance today. Soon, the top 10 contestants were seated on the stage. The organizing committee had thought of all kinds of gimmicks for the finals. Everyone had a throne, which was distributed in every corner of the arena. Everyone's equipment was even more high-end. Not only did they have computers, but they also had a full set of application equipment. There was nothing that they couldn't provide. Welcome everyone to the finals of the Information Science Olympiad. The host's voice sounded. The pinnacle of the competition is about to begin. Let us wait and see who will be the champion today. First, let us take a look at the top 10 contestants in the country. Then, a VCR of each contestant was played on the screen. As the VCR played, the contestants sitting on the throne descended from the sky and landed directly on their seats. The most eye-catching one was still Xiao Xiao. In the VCR, the young man was wearing a moon-white hoodie. He was walking over from afar, exuding an intoxicating aura. His facial features were as clear as a sculpture, and his angular face was unusually handsome. His appearance seemed to be unrestrained and abnormally lazy. However, it was this careless laziness that made him even more attractive. That pair of devilish eyes stared at you seriously from afar. When they blinked, they would be filled with passion. It was easy to fall into them if you weren't careful. After walking over from afar, Xiao Xiao stood still nearby. He put his right index finger to his lips and made a shushing gesture. Then, he moved his finger and pointed into the distance. His red lips, which were moderately thick, were overflowing with a dazzling smile. The curve of his mouth was just right. It was cold yet gentle, elegant yet noble. You only know how to act cool, Yinren muttered when she saw the video. However, the corners of her mouth couldn't help but curl up. Today was Xiao Xiao's final match. She was already at Nanchuan's house. She had turned on the live broadcast in her room early in the morning. After all the VCRs were played, the top 10 contestants in the country also landed in front of their respective competition tables. This was originally a very serious competition. However, it was turned into a very entertaining competition by the organizing committee. It was very eye-catching. At this moment, Xiao Xiao was ranked first due to his excellent performance in the previous 2 rounds. There were even netizens who announced that Xiao Xiao would definitely be first without any doubt. The competition began. The topic of this round's finals was Application Optimization Challenge. Given the application competition topic, carry out parallel application optimization. The difficulty of this round was obviously higher than the mechanical arm in the semifinals. It was not on the same level. This time, they were given a car's autopilot program. It was hyped up by the most popular concept at the moment, driverless driving. The topic set up 4 scenarios, including movable obstacles, unpredictable roads, adjusting the route at any time, and sudden attacks. Everyone was given a toy car. At the same time, a huge maze racetrack was raised. The organizing committee had put in a lot of effort into the design of the props. The entire maze racetrack took up about half of the venue. All the contestants sat around the circular track. All the audience was shocked by the maze props. The complexity of the roads inside was unimaginable. There was a number marked on each road. In other words, the toy car had to follow the number. It was not allowed to jump. However, it could be repeated. It was required to complete every road. In order to reduce the difficulty, the topic had indicated which roads would suddenly have obstacles and attacks. The rules of the finals were 10 people PK. The shortest time and the longest distance were judged. There was no requirement to complete the whole journey. Naming is difficult. F***CK. This has completely overturned my imagination. This is too difficult. Sweetie, let's not talk about cars. I can't even walk through it. I want to ask if ants can crawl through it. Compass to the north. Who designed this? There's even a cliff. Does a car drive down from the cliff? Or just fall off the cliff? God lives in my house. The roads are already very complicated. Why would stones fall from the sky? I feel sorry for the 10 contestants. Checkered shirt. This is an impossible task. Message in a bottle. Fortunately, the organizing committee did not require the contestants to complete the whole journey. Otherwise, they would have been wiped out. The difficulty of the topic was obvious. The host had specially invited professional judges to comment on it. The topic this time is a little difficult. We have designed a total of 3 sections. The first section is flat roads, and there are traps on the ground. Some of the traps can be seen with the naked eye. Some of the traps appear suddenly. The second section is a track. You can't derail. There are more types of tracks. On this track, obstacles will suddenly fall from the sky. The third section is a series of lightning curves. This is mainly to deal with the mountain roads. In order to reduce the difficulty, we have marked the roads that require special attention. We don't expect the contestants to complete the whole journey. However, we do expect the contestants to complete the whole journey. The competition officially began. The time limit was still 3 hours. Xiao Xiao and the others had a car simulation and a track simulation on their computers. The real track was placed there for the final test. Therefore, the contestants could do debugging while they were programming. Every contestant was fully focused. Their brain cells were mobilized to the maximum. Their eyes were glued to the screen. Their fingers were blindly typing on the keyboard. These were the top 10 contestants in the country. Everyone's professional ability had been tested in the previous rounds. They stood out among the tens of thousands of applicants. This competition was their most glorious display. The netizens in front of the internet gradually quieted down. They watched the contestants' full attention. The experts could see the code they wrote in real time. However, the outsiders were just watching for fun. There were already experts on the internet who had started to broadcast the meaning of the code they wrote in real time. Currently, everyone was in the first section. The first section was relatively smooth. The programming was not difficult. However, there were some traps on the ground. They had to consider how to deal with them. There was a pit that was relatively large. It needed to take up the turning lane. This was the most difficult section of the first section. Not only did they have to test their speed, but they also had to consider how to deal with it. Of course, there were traffic lights and some small curves in the middle of the journey. However, the first section should not be a problem for some experienced programmers. After about half an hour of commentary on the internet, everyone could see that each contestant's progress was different. A few contestants quickly finished the first section and were already thinking about the second section. Xiao Zhao's speed was even more exaggerated. The commentator could not keep up with his speed at all. He had already given up and started to explain the overall situation. Xiao Xiao had already built an identical model of the maze in his mind. The tadpoles imitated themselves as racing cars and raced around in it. With their own experience, they could better understand the meaning of the question maker. When they wrote the program, they would be more thorough. A few tadpoles acted as obstacles that fell from the sky. They were not playing with ordinary stones. They were playing with a storm of stones falling from the sky. Anyway, they had the most tadpoles. Moreover, they did not only set obstacles at the designated sections. These tadpoles were very playful. They could go wherever they wanted. With this style, Xiao Xiao's programming was naturally more flexible. He quickly took the lead. Chapter 56. The little tadpole who had been locked up in the foggy room was the big boss of the tadpoles. He raised the most critical question. Even if the simulation was completed in the program, did they think that it would succeed in reality? All the tadpoles were stunned. They had been playing happily when a few of them fell from the sky. The big boss was very satisfied with the effect he had caused. He stood at the highest point of the simulation track and shouted at all the tadpoles, "You forgot the parameters of the toy car itself." All the tadpoles understood immediately. They lowered their heads and condemned their ignorance in their hearts. Thus, a new wave of data calculations began. The big boss was right. The weight of the toy car itself, and its carrying capacity, as well as the friction and resistance caused by the road and wind when it ran were all key factors. The simulation in the computer was completely different from reality. The big boss continued. "This is the biggest trap the committee has dug for us." Xiao Xiao looked at the tadpoles brainstorming in their minds. He was also enlightened. He deleted his original program and started to write a new one. The netizens saw that Xiao Xiao had deleted all the hundreds of programs that he had written. Xiao Xiao had a very obvious lead at first, but now he had to start all over again. Even the experts had to turn back and think about Xiao Xiao's program. However, they could not see anything. Xiao Xiao's program for the first round was very good. There were no mistakes. Why did he delete it? Of course, Xiao Xiao could not answer them during the competition. The experienced experts could only scratch their ears and continue to watch. Hua Gang had finished the first round's code. He ran it repeatedly. There were no problems at all. He started to move on to the second round. The difficulty of the test was really difficult for him. He looked up at Xiao Xiao's interface and was stunned. Why was it blank? He looked at the others. They had more or less written a part of the program. A few of them were similar to him. Could it be that he had run out of ideas, or had he really cheated before? He had already arranged a big show for today. He was just waiting for it to ferment, spread, and explode on the internet. Hua Gang began to focus on writing his program. If Xiao Xiao was not around, then he would definitely get first place. Racing was a game that he usually liked to play. He had some experience in this area, and knew more about it than the previous mechanical arm. Therefore, when he saw the exam question, his heart leaped with joy. This was simply a big pie that fell from the sky and smashed directly onto his head. He wanted to show this result to Yanran and let her see his excellence. Time ticked by, and Xiao Xiao began to get back on track. He started when the others had already made up the first paragraph. But as always, he would not disappoint them. It was as if he had been possessed by a program. He didn't need to think at all. He was like a robot that kept flying across the keyboard. Line after line of code appeared on the screen, but he still did not need to do any debugging. Continuing his usual style, the audience was already used to it. Soon he finished the first paragraph. Then he started to write the second paragraph furiously. When he finished the second paragraph, the others were not even a third of the way through the second paragraph. The commentator on Weibo originally thought that he could finally catch up with Xiao Xiao's speed, but he gave up in less than 2 minutes. In the midst of this intense competition, several marketing accounts suddenly appeared on the internet and released a video. #conspiracy. The biggest conspiracy of the Information Science Olympiad hashtag. Originally, the live stream was the first to be promoted by the major websites. But who would have thought that the conspiracy of the Information Science Olympiad would come crashing down like a deep-water bomb. The netizens had no choice but to click on it to take a look. A video was posted on the forum. The beginning and end of the video were the scenes of Xiao Xiao entering and exiting a residential area. The middle part of the video was some insider trading information. They were the naked bird and the mechanical arms program. The entire video was about the unspeakable story between Xiao Xiao and a certain judge. This video, which was a mixture of truth and falsehood, made people feel confused. The video questioned 3 questions. Is there a human with such a hand speed? Which programmer didn't need to debug their code when they were coding? Does it mean that the Information Science Olympiad can be advanced by just memorizing code in the future? The 3 questions directly hit the official website of the Olympiad Committee. The entire internet was in an uproar. Some believed it, some did not. But the real interaction between Xiao Xiao and the judge was indeed recorded. Xiao Xiao, who was at the scene, did not know anything. He was still working hard on his program. But at this time, the audience outside the venue started to have doubts. The seed of worship that was planted in their hearts was a big question mark. So the program was backed up? Did he already know about the questions, so he did this? Very quickly, people started to post under the official website, questioning the authenticity of the video. If it was real, they asked for a fair response and a clear sky for the Information Science Olympiad. Yenren also saw the video immediately. She sneered, "Internet haters are really scary." But this time, she did not do anything. She felt that the committee would not be so easily attacked. Also, Professor Wang was a leading figure in the IT world. How could he do something like this? But there was something else in the video. Xiao Xiao's past results were somehow exposed. From middle school all the way to high school, his grades in middle school were only average. But in high school, his first exam results were always at the bottom of the school. He was able to enter Nanchuan High School mainly because his family donated a library. The hatred of the rich ignited the entire internet. It was like a prairie fire that burned everyone's nerves. So he was a bad student. Just because his family was rich, he could buy out the entire Information Science Olympiad? This was an insult to the entire Information Science Olympiad. It was also a challenge to the country. The internet was full of scolding. The committee panicked. They immediately went to Nanchuan to investigate Xiao Xiao's background and found that everything was true. However, the school also said that although Xiao Xiao's grades were not good, he was making rapid progress in school. Nanchuan High School did not regret recruiting Xiao Xiao. The school had special admission slots every year, and Xiao Xiao had indeed been specially recruited. Professor He knew about Xiao Xiao. He did not think much of the information online. A prodigal son was more valuable than gold. He knew very well whether Xiao Xiao was the real deal. The competition was still in progress, and nothing could interrupt it. Soon, 3 hours passed and the competition ended. Professor Wang was still sitting upright at the judge's table. Someone from the committee came to ask him to go backstage. He was shocked when he saw the 2 videos of Xiao Xiao. He threw his tablet at the person from the committee and asked angrily, "How can you believe this kind of fake news? I only met Xiao Xiao a few days ago. Why would I help him cheat? Use your brains and you'll know. Do I look like someone who could know the questions beforehand?" The person from the committee immediately smiled apologetically. "Professor Wang, it's not that we don't believe you, but this incident is all over the internet. We must think of a way to resolve it. If you doubt me as a judge because of this, I will voluntarily resign." "Professor Wang, that's definitely not what we mean. We invited you here to see how we can resolve this crisis. As you know, the power of the internet is very strong these days. If PR is not handled properly, it could cause a bigger crisis and affect the credibility of our competition. That's easy to handle. Just come up with another question and ask him to solve it. If he can solve it, then it's not cheating. If he can't, then he will be disqualified. However, I trust him. If you don't believe me, you can look at the results of the finals." The committee thought about it and agreed that it was true. They would look at the results of the finals first. Soon the 3 hours were up, and everyone was forced to stop. Xiao Xiao was the only one who had finished a long time ago. He closed his eyes to rest in his seat. The little tadpole in his brain spent a lot of energy to design this maze-like track. He was a little tired. The host announced the contestants' exit, and the judges went up to give their scores. The first test was the first contestant's toy car. After connecting to the program, the toy car entered the first track. At first, it drove very smoothly. At the big pit, the toy car went around it from the driveway, showing a small curve, which made the audience secretly give a thumbs up. Then it entered the second track. The situation became more complicated. There were all kinds of tracks. There was a cliff on this track. When the toy car reached the cliff, it fell directly from the cliff. The game ended there. Game over. The second, third, and fourth contestants also stopped here. It seemed that this cliff was a very important competition point. The order of the test was based on the previous rankings. At this time, contestants 7 to 10 had finished their test. The live audience and the online audience were all sweating. The cliff was indeed very difficult. But was it really impossible for anyone to pass? Next, it was the turn of the sixth contestant, Huagang. Soon, his toy car also reached the cliff. Huagang had studied how to drive on this track. When his car reached the edge of the cliff, it dived down in a straight line. However, his rear wheels were on the track, and the front wheels were off. Because of this, the car maintained a certain degree of balance. When it landed, the front wheels touched the ground first, then the rear wheels followed, and the transition was smooth. There was a burst of cheers on the internet. Finally, a contestant passed this competition point. It was really not easy. Huagang's image in the audience's mind was instantly raised. Then the toy car shuttled back and forth between the tracks. Finally, it reached the track indicated on the screen that there would be falling objects here. 3 stones fell from the sky at a very fast speed. Huagang's car had already alerted the police. The red light flashed, which meant that the radar had detected the intrusion of a foreign object. The toy car quickly turned the steering wheel as if it had eyes. It made a left turn, a right turn, and an emergency brake. It perfectly avoided the 3 falling stones. When the stones fell, the audience had already held their breaths. It was as if the stones were going to hit their heads. Some of the girls had already shrunk their necks in fear. When they saw the perfect performance of the toy car, it was as if they had just escaped death. They were all excited and let out a sigh of relief. Chapter 57. It was the first time that someone had passed the second track perfectly. Huagang's heart was in his throat, but when he saw his car enter the third track, he finally smiled. Only a handful of people could enter the third track. Victory was already in his hands. The third track was even more difficult. After a few drifts and falling stones, Huagang finally stopped halfway through the third track. The audience burst into cheers. They were very satisfied with this result. It had already exceeded their expectations. The internet also raised Huagang to the level of a guru. Huagang was scrolling through Weibo with his phone. When he saw that the news about Xiao Xiao had spread quickly, he pursed his lips and put away his phone with satisfaction. This was the most comfortable moment he had ever felt since he met Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao had also seen the video of himself on Weibo. He did not expect that someone would secretly take a video of him. Furthermore, the person was so imaginative that he and Professor Wang were involved in cheating. He sneered. How could they make up such fake news? What a clown. However, he soon realized that his results in school were being used as a topic. He touched his nose and suddenly felt embarrassed. Most importantly, he was worried that Yanran would be unhappy if she saw it. Sigh. He had been a bad student. This was a fact that could not be changed. He even dragged Uncle Wu into this. I'm sorry, Uncle Wu, for making you an internet celebrity. After Huagang's test, the 5th to 2nd place were also very good. 2 of them had reached the third track, but they were not as far as Huagang. Huagang was in 1st place. Finally, it was Xiao Xiao's turn. Huagang looked at Xiao Xiao and realized that he was not nervous at all. He was still sitting lazily on the sofa, as if he did not care about his results at all. Actually, Xiao Xiao was concerned about whether Yanran had seen the video online. Xiao Xiao's test began. There was no suspense in the first track. He flew through it at an extremely fast speed. When he reached the cliff of the second track, He did not do what Huigang did. Instead, he bounced from the top to the bottom. Then, he reversed the car and slid down the cliff. Immortal lives in my house. F***ck, there's such a thing. He deliberately reversed the car so that he did not break the rules. Stay up until dawn. Isn't your focus a bit off? Why didn't any of you care about how the car slid down the cliff? Mu Xianfeng. He bounced off the cliff. How did he not flip the car? Shocked to the end. Racing cars can be driven so steadily? This is challenging the limits of the car's limits. Indeed, Xiao Xiao had combined the performance, weight, and characteristics of the car itself, and launched it down the cliff like a missile. There was not the slightest inclination, so it could land smoothly. In order to comply with the rules of the competition, he rewound a little further. This was also a reminder from the tadpole boss in his head. Then, Xiao Xiao successfully avoided the obstacles in front of the audience. His toy car simply ignored the obstacles as it sped along at lightning speed. At this moment, the teacher who came up with the questions started to regret. Why was the falling stone so slow? In the eyes of Huigang and the other contestants, the falling stone was already quite fast. But to Xiao Xiao, this speed was not even worth mentioning. Compared to his speed, the car was already out of sight in midair. The audience's mouths never closed. They had previously treated Huigang as a god, but now, Xiao Xiao had become a god in their eyes. What kind of godlike maneuvering was this? The toy car was basically flying on the track. Nothing could stop it from moving forward. Drifting in the third stage was like playing on a slide in his eyes. With just a few casual movements, he was able to cross all the bends in the third stage. A beautiful sprint crossed the finish line of the track. The entire internet was boiling. This was the first contestant to complete the entire track, and also the only one. Xiao Xiao's previous scandals were instantly suppressed. Xiao Xiao used his own ability to prove that the scandals were false. Waiting to become Buddha. Was this really made up by Xiao Xiao himself? There isn't a ready-made program for this, right? Plaid shirt. Didn't the internet say that he was a bad student? How can he be so good in this aspect? Senior ape, I'm kneeling down to this god. Huigang looked at this godly reversal and felt extremely sullen. He did not expect Xiao Xiao to be so good. All the tests were over. At this moment, Professor Wang stood up and said, "There is a video on the internet saying that I leaked the questions to Xiao Xiao. I hereby solemnly declare that as a judge, I did not know the questions beforehand. I could not have leaked the questions. Secondly, when I met Xiao Xiao that day, I also asked him to help me fix my robot program. Thirdly, in order to deal with the haters on the internet, I suggest that the first and second contestants compete again. They can set the questions on the spot, and there is no way to cheat. This will prove Xiao Xiao's ability. Fourthly, why did Xiao Xiao change from a bad student to a top student? I can't explain this. In the future, we will have to wait for Xiao Xiao to explain it himself. However, I know that it is possible for a person to suddenly become enlightened. A prodigal son turning over a new leaf is more precious than gold. I hope that everyone can give Xiao Xiao more encouragement." Professor Wang stood up to refute the rumors. It was obvious that he supported Xiao Xiao. The netizens were already shocked by Xiao Xiao's ability. After this heavyweight in the IT industry refuted the rumors, 70% to 80% of them believed it. At this time, the host said, "In order to prove that this competition is fair and open, we will take Professor Wang's suggestion and have another round of overtime. This competition has a time limit of 1 hour. The contestants are first place Xiao Xiao and second place Huigang. The topic of the overtime is how to save a toy car. The specific content has been entered into the two contestants' computers. Please complete the task within the allotted time." This topic was a bit tricky. The toy car going through a maze was already complicated enough. Now there was an additional scenario: how to save a toy car in an extreme situation. The extreme situation was a fire scene, and the toy car sinking into the water. Huigang had never written such a program before. He believed that no one had written such a program before. If there was, then the car would not always explode in a fire or sink into the water. This was a completely new research project. How could it be used as an overtime topic? The organizing committee was obviously trying to make things difficult for him and Xiao Xiao. The organizing committee felt that if the topic was simple, it would not be enough to convince the public. Even though this was a scientific research problem, it had not been solved yet. However, if the two contestants could come up with some preliminary ideas, it would be a great improvement. Only this kind of application that had never had an answer before could reflect the fairness of the program. The netizens were all stunned. There was such a thing. The layman did not think much of it, but the insiders silently lit a candle for the two contestants in their hearts. God lives in my house. If the two of them can't come up with a solution, what will happen? Won't they be unable to prove anything? Senior Ape. If Xiao Xiao wants to prove his innocence in this round, he must come up with real skills. Plaid Shirt. This problem that has troubled everyone for hundreds of years has not been solved. You want him to solve it in an hour to prove his innocence? This is a bit deliberately making things difficult. The laymen were very excited. The scene must be very interesting. There was fire and water. Yinran saw the comments online and knew that someone must be behind this. Who could it be? Who would be so jealous of Xiao Xiao? Yinran made a phone call. I want all the personal information of the top 10 contestants in the Information Science Olympiad. Soon Xiao Xiao and Huagang sat in their seats. Xiao Xiao still looked calm and lazy, but Huagang looked like he was facing a great enemy. The maze had been removed and replaced with two other sealed scenes. One of the sealed boxes was made to look like a tunnel. The tunnel was very long. The toy car was about to drive through the tunnel, and the tunnel was on fire. The other box was filled with water. Xiao Xiao did not find it difficult. The most important thing for the toy car to enter the fire was to isolate it. The car could not explode because of the fire. The key was to not let the fuel tank catch fire. If there was a fire near the fuel tank, it would explode. If the car itself burned, the fuel tank would not explode. The explosion required a sealed space. The tunnel was a simulation of this sealed space, and the tunnel was very long. The tadpoles in Xiao Xiao's mind had automatically formed a tunnel, and one of the tadpoles was pretending to be the toy car and was rushing inside. Xiao Xiao did not know how they did it. He felt a buzzing in his head, as if there was a fire burning inside, and his head hurt. Then he saw the tadpole rush into the tunnel, but unfortunately, it did not rush out. Instead, it shouted in the tunnel, "I'm burning, I'm going to explode." In the end, I saw the tadpole walk out of the tunnel horizontally. He lay on the ground and said to the other tadpoles, "I know where the problem is. You didn't make a fire protection film for me, and you didn't make a water spray or a cooling device. I'm dying of heat inside." Xiao Xiao was charmed by this cute little tadpole and laughed out loud. He knew that he had an idea, and he would be able to complete it soon. Huagang heard Xiao Xiao's laughter and raised his head to look at him. Huagang gritted his teeth and said, "You're lucky this time. I'll make sure you can't laugh anymore." The second device in the water, Xiao Xiao thought, was much simpler than the one in the fire. There had been a technological breakthrough in the past, and the amphibious car had been tested. The car fell into the water and was isolated. The propeller could be made into a device similar to a submarine, and it could slowly float to the surface to save itself. With a clear idea, Xiao Xiao started to do it. Huagang had no idea how to save himself in the fire, but he had some ideas about how to save himself in the water. The two of them had already started typing on the keyboard with their hands flying over the keyboard. Both of them were wearing headphones, so they could not hear the discussion around them. But at the scene, the tension had reached its peak. An hour passed quickly. The answer was about to be revealed as everyone waited anxiously. Chapter 58. This time, the toy car needed to be modified. The organizing committee also provided some parts and equipment. Xiao Xiao and Huagang also spent some time modifying their cars. The host announced, "Time's up." The two contestants stopped typing on their keyboards. This time, Xiao Xiao didn't finish it ahead of time, because the program was too complicated. 1 hour wasn't enough. However, he finished most of it. He only lacked a design to drain the water after it floated to the surface. No matter what, he was confident in his program. He should be able to save himself. Now there should be a bulging belly at the back of his toy car. It should be filled with water. The final test started with Huagang, who was ranked at the bottom. Huagang's train of thought was not very clear when he went through the tunnel. However, he also knew that the fuel tank couldn't catch fire, so he added a fireproof material around the fuel tank. He made up his mind to go through the tunnel as fast as possible to avoid close contact with the fire. After the program was connected, Huagang's toy car drove into the tunnel at an extremely fast speed. The audience only saw the car disappear in the blink of an eye. Immortals live in my house. This is using speed to stop the fire. This is impossible in reality. Mu Xianfeng. If he saw a fire in front of him in reality, he would be an idiot to drive in. Stay up till morning. It's good enough that he can escape. Why do you care about speed? Plaid shirt. Let's see if he can escape first. After Huagang's car entered the tunnel, the big screen began to show the situation inside the tunnel. As everyone expected, the car went through the tunnel at an extremely fast speed. Soon, it was submerged in the sea of fire. At this time, two judges shook their heads and said regretfully, "The faster you go, the easier it is to catch fire." Sure enough, as soon as they finished speaking, the tires couldn't withstand the high temperature and began to burst. The friction between the tires and the ground caused sparks. In an instant, the tires exploded. The power of the explosion filled the entire tunnel. It was a little scary, and many small pieces of fire were ejected. The entire car could no longer be controlled. Without the support of the tires, the toy car veered off course and crashed into both sides of the tunnel. No matter how hard they tried to cover the fuel tank, it was useless. There was a loud explosion in the tunnel. The audience watching the live broadcast was shocked. Looking at the flames on the screen and hearing the thumping sounds in their ears, they felt as if they were in the same place. If someone was sitting in the car at this moment, it could only be described as tragic. They had failed the first round, and the host was also shocked by the explosion. He announced that they would clean up the scene and take a short break. Then, they began to test Huagang's underwater escape. After the explosion just now, Huagang still had lingering fears. However, he believed that he could still fight for his life underwater. His toy car slowly drove from the road into the water and slowly sank. At this moment, several propellers rose from the bottom of the car and began to rotate rapidly. The entire car slowly floated to the surface of the water. Huagang relaxed when he saw that he had succeeded. When the onlookers saw that the car had finally floated to the surface of the water, they clapped happily. At this moment, a judge asked, "Other than installing the propellers, did you do anything else?" Huagang replied, "No." After hearing the answer, the judge shook his head regretfully. Next was Qiao Zhao's demonstration. In the first round, Qiao Zhao's toy car drove into the tunnel at a constant speed. The big screen changed to the scene inside the tunnel. The toy car's radar detected a fire 10 meters in front of it, and it quickly raised a circle of fire isolation panels around the entire car. At the same time, there was a circle of faucets outside the panels, and water began to flow out. When the audience saw this, they wondered, "Is this a fire hose?" This circle of faucets was very useful. Not only did it flow out, but it also kept spraying water on the car's tires and body. This way, it could prevent the tires from catching fire, because they couldn't withstand the high temperature. Wonderful. The judges were overwhelmed with emotions. How come no one had thought of this before? At this moment, the fire gradually grew bigger. The water in the car's water tank could no longer withstand the power of the flames. Because of the continuous use, the water in the water tank quickly dried up. And at this moment, the toy car reported the tire temperature. Under the controlled temperature, the toy car quickly chose to speed up and rushed out of the tunnel at the fastest speed. There was no explosion, only safety. The exciting result burned everyone's rationality. Even the judges stood up and applauded Qiao Zhao. At this moment, the host jumped out and said, "Everyone, please restrain your excitement. Let's finish the test of the whole game." Then it was the test of escape in the water. Everyone held their breath and watched the toy car slowly go into the water. After detecting that the water had covered the tires, The car's windows were automatically rolled up. The whole car was sealed, and oxygen was automatically released inside the car. Then, when the trunk of the car first sank to the bottom of the water, the propeller installed next to the rear wheel began to move. First, the whole car was balanced. The voice in the car had been broadcasting the oxygen content in the car and the pressure inside and outside the car. When the car was balanced, the front wheel also sank into the water. The car broadcast, close the inlet, close the entire base, turn on the front wheel propeller. With this broadcast, everyone could clearly see every movement inside and outside the car. This was a simple submarine. The whole car was wrapped, so that not even a drop of water could flow in. At the same time, there was an oxygen supply device. With the propeller operating, the toy car slowly rose. But at this time, there was a bulge at the back of the car. This was the drainage device that Xiao Xiao had not had time to design. Xiao Xiao touched his nose embarrassedly. This was the part that he had not finished. There should be an automatic drainage function after the toy car came out of the water. Because of the time, he could not make it perfect. The little tadpoles in his brain also covered their faces in shame. Compared to Xiao Xiao's pursuit of perfection, the others already felt that it was very perfect. The judge's emotions could no longer be described as surging. This was simply like a bright light shining in front of them. The topic of vehicle self-rescue had been studied for many years. They did not expect that today's competition would have such a big harvest. The younger generation would surpass the older generation. Stay up until morning, guru. The guru of the IT industry is born. Mu Xianfeng. I actually witnessed this historical moment. Senior Ape. This is incredible. Is this a human brain? Immortal lives in my house. Guru, please accept my kneeling. Plaid shirt. Is the guru from outer space? My IQ has been refreshed. There was no suspense. Xiao Zhao's ability was obvious to everyone. As for whether he was a straight-A student or a genius, it did not seem to be important. There were too many such examples. Geniuses who dropped out of school were everywhere. It was also possible that Xiao Xiao was biased in his subject. Anyway, this time, the negative news could no longer stand. Many netizens even began to complain about it. These marketing accounts were scared. They did not want to cause public anger, so they quickly deleted and left. However, Yanran would not let this matter go so easily. She already had the information of the 10 people in her hands. She had also asked people to investigate several marketing accounts on the internet. Now, she just needed to follow the clues to find the culprit. In the end, Xiao Xiao went on stage and picked up the Olympiad trophy. He took a funny selfie, holding the trophy and pouting. Then he sent a flying kiss to Yinran's cheek through the phone screen. The next day, Xiao Xiao had a good night's sleep. His body was full of spiritual power again. Yesterday's competition had consumed a lot of his brain cells. He found that the little tadpoles had a self-awakening function. Some of the little tadpoles that had entered old age were automatically eliminated, and some would give birth to new tadpoles. The metabolism cycle was endless in Xiao Zhao's mind. Ever since he practiced the first spiritual art, he found that the demonic energy in his body had been greatly controlled. It seemed that there was a reason for all this. If he practiced it well, he would not have to be a brute in the demonic world. The more Xiao Xiao looked at the human world, the more pleasing it was to the eye. It was simply his heaven, except that there were often people who were jealous of him. He was not surprised that people were slandering him on the internet. After all, people would only slander him when he was popular. However, he still called Officer Zhang to discuss it with him. Officer Zhang attached great importance to it. He pulled up the video of the hotel entrance and finally found a clue. The person who followed Xiao Xiao out that day was Huagang. The route of Huagang's taxi was also pulled up. Just like Xiao Zhao's, the taxi stopped at the entrance of the neighborhood. From this, it could be seen that Huagang was a great suspect. Xiao Xiao was a little hesitant to deal with the suspicion of Huagang. After all, Yanran had promised him that there was no problem with Huagang. Was he entrusted by Yanran to protect him that day? Or was he trying to frame him? Officer Zhang immediately took action. He summoned Huagang before he was about to leave Xining City. However, Gang flatly denied the video. Instead, he admitted that he was entrusted by someone to protect Xiao Xiao. Officer Zhang also checked Gang's mobile phone and the laptop that he carried with him. He did not find anything unusual. Gang's psychological quality was very good. He was very familiar with the way the police handled cases. After the incident failed, he had already cleaned up. Only a very professional expert could restore it, and he himself was an expert. Therefore, it was normal that Officer Zhang did not find anything from him. However, Officer Zhang said to Xiao Xiao, "This person is either a very good person who was entrusted by someone to do his duty and think of you in every way. Otherwise, he is a criminal with extremely strong anti-reconnaissance ability." Xiao Xiao thought about Yinran's words and said to Officer Zhang, "He is a friend of a good friend of mine. I believe him." However, Xiao Xiao still sent a message to Yinran. After all, he was Yinran's friend. Yinran looked at the marketing information that she had just received. It was hired by someone with the online name Gun King. The commission was generous. The video was also provided by Gun King. However, there were no clues left behind. Even the commission was transferred from a bank account that had changed hands many times. Without conclusive evidence, Xiao Zhao's attack case had reached a dead end. Everything was in a blur. Xiao Zhao's attractive body was always in trouble. Yinran put away the materials in her hand and frowned. She knew that more trouble was coming. Chapter 59. After the competition, the summer vacation was about to come to an end. Xiao Xiao returned to Nanchuan. The principal even came to visit him and congratulated him on winning the Information Science Olympiad. He hoped that he would continue to work hard and win glory for the school. "Xiao Xiao, it's your turn to speak under the national flag on the first week of school." Before the principal left, he smiled and patted Xiao Xiao's shoulder. After this competition, Xiao Xiao still found that his knowledge was insufficient. For example, the principles of cars and robots. Although he had already written the program, his technical knowledge was obviously not solid enough. Now his desire for knowledge was like a human's desire for air. He still spent all day in the bookstore, but he was no longer limited to textbooks. He started from the first floor of the bookstore and read all kinds of knowledge. As long as it was available in the bookstore, he would directly store it in his mind. When he read a fantasy novel from the Devil Realm, he commented that it was too exaggerated. Even a prince of the Devil Realm like him wasn't that powerful. When he read medical books, he was very interested in Chinese medicine. This was somewhat similar to his cultivation. The extension of various meridians and the operation of the human body's meridians allowed him to open his inner vision. He was like a SpongeBob SquarePants as he absorbed all the nutrients in the books into his mind. Only then did he realize that he was like a frog at the bottom of a well. The world was so big, but he only saw the game above his head. The little tadpoles in his mind were the happiest. They categorized all kinds of knowledge and stored it in different places. His mind was like a memory palace. When he opened a box, he would find a book. During the summer vacation, he played with his classmates a few more times. School was about to start. Xiao Xiao asked Yinran out a few times, but she was not free. Finally, after Xiao Xiao acted cute 100 times, Yinran finally agreed. Xiao Xiao still booked the revolving restaurant on the top floor of the 5-star hotel. In his eyes, this was the most romantic place in Nanchuan. This time, he wanted to look at the starry sky with Yinran and enjoy the night view together. Before he went out, he dressed up meticulously and reviewed the 100 ways to woo girls that he had read in the bookstore. He ordered 99 roses and held them in his hands, which attracted a lot of attention. He went to the designated seat and placed the rose in the middle of the table. Looking at the time, there were still 20 minutes left. Then, she picked up the napkin on Yinran's table and began to fold the small animals. When Xiao Xiao looked at the door for the 10th time, he finally saw Yinran's figure. He happily ran over to welcome her, but suddenly found that behind Yinran, there was a familiar figure, Gang. Xiao Xiao's smile instantly froze. "Hi Xiao Xiao. Am I not welcome?" Gang greeted him with a smile. "Of course not." Xiao Xiao gritted his teeth and said in his heart, "Just now, I happened to go to Yinran's house as a guest. I heard that Yinran was coming out for dinner, so I licked my face and followed. You don't not welcome me, right? This meal is on me," Huagang continued to say with a smile. Xiao Xiao couldn't do anything about it. She couldn't do anything about it. He could only welcome the two of them in. In a place where Huagang couldn't see, he glanced at Yinran with hidden bitterness. Yinran was also very innocent. She finally had some time, but she didn't expect that Huagang would come to her house. Then, like a dog skin plaster, she couldn't get rid of him. Didn't he follow her here? Huagang saw the 99 roses on the table, and his face changed. He then joked, "These flowers are so beautiful. Are they a gift from the hotel?" Xiao Xiao couldn't use the scene of him giving the flowers. He was depressed and could only say dryly, "These flowers are for Yinran. I want to thank her for helping me last time." Yinran looked at the little black bun on Xiao Xiao's head. At this time, his head was drooping and he looked listless. It was as if the light of the world was leaving him. Yinran couldn't help but laugh. Looking at the red roses on the table, she knew that Xiao Xiao had carefully chosen them for her. This meal was incomparably depressing. Because of Huagang's participation, he was basically the one talking the whole time. Looking at Yinran's eyes, Xiao Xiao's heart was about to overflow with jealousy. He kept talking about the interesting stories of their competition, but Yinran and Xiao Xiao didn't seem to be listening. Originally, Xiao Xiao would take good care of Yinran every time they ate. But this time, when Xiao Xiao put food in Yinran's bowl, he would always bump into Huagang. Several times, the two of them acted in unison. Soon, Yinran's plate was full. "You two don't need to put food in my bowl anymore. I can do it myself." Xiao Xiao and Huagang looked at each other. Sparks flew from their eyes and exploded into their bowls. The two of them acted as if they were angry and began to eat in silence. They only stopped when their stomachs were round and all the food on the table was gone. Then Huagang threw another bomb. "I'm transferring to your school next semester." Xiao Xiao was drinking water. When he heard this, he spat out a mouthful of water. It all sprayed onto Huagang's hand. I'm sorry. Xiao Xiao hurriedly apologized. Huagang's face darkened. He was speechless. He could only say that he was going to the bathroom to clean up. Finally, this eyesore left. Xiao Xiao was extremely resentful. He looked at Yinran with grievance. "Do you know how long I've been looking forward to this dinner? How could you bring another person?" Yinran knew that she was wrong. She lowered her head and looked at the food in her bowl. "It's also a coincidence. When I went out, he insisted on following me. I don't care. You have to compensate me. This meal is equivalent to eating for free." Xiao Xiao pouted. "How are you eating for free? I saw that you ate quite a lot." Yinran couldn't help but roll her eyes. "That's because I don't want to listen to him. I can only eat to offset my appetite. You have to compensate me. Accompany me for a walk tonight." Xiao Xiao continued to act coquettishly. "Huagang will definitely send me back later. Just tell him not to send you back. You still have things to do. Also, why should he send you back? What's his relationship with you?" Xiao Xiao was a little anxious. Just when Xiao Xiao was anxious, Huagang came back. Huagang calmly looked at Xiao Xiao, who didn't have time to hide his expression. He sat down and consciously took a napkin for Yinran. He said to her, "There's a bit of dirt on the corner of your mouth." Yinran took it silently. She didn't say anything else. Xiao Xiao stared at the napkin, as if he wanted to stare a hole through it. The atmosphere of the dinner later became even more awkward. After it was hastily wrapped up, Huagang offered to send Yinran home. Xiao Xiao watched the two of them leave. He held back a mouthful of old blood in his heart. After returning home, Xiao Xiao sat on the bed and flipped through the TV in boredom. He didn't even bother to look at his phone. Uncle Wu was very curious. "Young master, why did you come back so early today? Didn't you say that you were going to eat with Miss Yinran?" Uncle Wu was very grateful to Yinran now. She turned Xiao Xiao into his ideal prince. He improved in all aspects and almost became a good youth. He really wanted to pack the young master up and send him directly to Yinran. "Young master, is Miss Yinran busy today? Why did she come back so early?" Uncle Wu held a glass of milk and quietly appeared in front of Xiao Xiao's door. She was taken away by a friend of hers. Xiao Xiao didn't notice that his teeth fell out when he said this. What friend? Xiao Xiao suddenly reacted. Uncle Wu, you said that Yanran doesn't treat me as a bad person now. But what about the other cultivators? Will they also want to get rid of me when they see me? That's possible. But there are very few cultivators. It's rare to meet them. How can that be? Uncle Wu, I've met a few of them. Today, Yanran's friend is also a cultivator. There's also blue gas coming out of his head. I've seen a few of them before. How can there be so many in the human world? Is it because they are Miss Yanran's friends that they are all cultivators? Then is there any way to hide my black gas? These people are so troublesome. I heard that there's a kind of medicine that can temporarily hide it. But it can't last long. Once you get angry, it will be revealed. It's good to be able to hide it for a while. Uncle Wu, think of a way to get some for me. Xiao Xiao also became somewhat aware of danger. He was attacked several times. Until now, the person who attacked him still hasn't been found. But what made him curious was why Hua Gang suddenly transferred to their school. This person always made him feel a bit of hostility. Just by looking at the way he looked at Yanran, he knew that this guy must have some ulterior motive. He wanted to fight with him for Yanran. The annoying thing was that Yanran still trusted him so much. It really made him feel a bit frustrated. Tonight's good date was ruined just like that. He didn't know when the next time would be. At this time, Xiao Xiao hoped that school could start earlier. That way at least he could see her every day. Just as he was thinking about random things, Yanran's phone call came. He immediately jumped out of bed. He happily picked up Yanran's phone call, and then called out to Yanran with grievance. What are you doing? I'm wondering why you didn't accompany me for a walk. I went home. I can't come out. That Hua Gang is your friend. Why do you trust him so much? He and I grew up together. Our families are family friends. Oh, so they're childhood friends. Xiao Xiao could hear the sound of teeth grinding from the phone. He's a very good person. And he's also a cultivator. He's very capable. Are you going to ask me to get along well with him? Yes. Xiao Xiao was speechless. Have you found out that he has ulterior motives towards you? Yanran couldn't help but laugh. When did he have ulterior motives towards me? There's obviously something wrong with the way he looks at you. I don't know what he's thinking. Don't talk nonsense. He's my good friend and also my subordinate. Then, do you guys usually hang out together? Xiao Xiao's heart was extremely sour. What do you mean hang out together often? When we're on a mission, we act together. In other words, you see him more than you see me, right? What nonsense are you thinking about again? I'm just calling to explain to you. I'm sorry about tonight. I don't want your apology. I just want to see you. I miss you, Yanran. Xiao Xiao ignored her, and said this with his eyes closed. There was no sound from the other end of the phone for a long time. After a while, there seemed to be a knock on the door. Yanran said lightly, "Someone's coming. I'm hanging up." Before Xiao Xiao could respond, the phone was hung up. Chapter 60. Xiao Xiao felt that Yanran was sent by the heavens to torment him. She was good to him one moment and bad to him the next. However, the bad things were made up by his own imagination, causing his emotions to fluctuate. He remembered reading a book that said, if a boy wants to chase a girl, there is a trick that has never worked, and that is to keep a distance. Xiao Xiao gritted his teeth. Yanran had learned this trick perfectly. Now his little heart was in a mess. He didn't want to think about it anymore. There was nothing he could do now. There was a jade in the book. He should find his jade in the book. In the blink of an eye, school finally started. Xiao Xiao was successfully promoted to grade 2-3. The new semester had a new atmosphere. During the summer vacation, the walls of the entire campus had been renovated. Some new equipment had been added, and a few scenes had been built on campus. In general, it looked more and more beautiful. Ever since Xiao Xiao's eyes had recovered, blue had become his favorite color. Coincidentally, the renovation of the campus this time had painted the library donated by Uncle Wu light blue. He had read most of the books in the bookstore. Uncle Wu reminded him that the school had donated a library. This opened a door for him. On the first day of school, He was going to let loose in the library. However, before he let loose, he still had an important task. He had to give a speech under the flag set up by the principal. This was the moment when everyone was looking at him. The last time, it was Yanran's. This time, Xiao Xiao sent a message to Yanran in advance. Remember to take a picture for me. Then, he stepped onto the podium with his long legs that resembled a male model's. The crowd below was dark and dense. In order to get a seat, these juniors had been waiting for more than half an hour. It was September, and the sun was still very hot. However, the heat of the sun could not compare to the passion in the hearts of the students. The entire field was packed. The students used their hands to block the dazzling sunlight and stared fervently at the stage, as if the stage was a god in their hearts. Some people who had received the news in advance even made signboards, printed Xiao Xiao's name and photo on them, and waved them back and forth in the sports field. Xiao Xiao saw it as soon as he got on the stage. He blew a few kisses to the people holding his photo, and the crowd immediately screamed. Yanran was also down there, but she came later and was standing at the edge of the field. She looked at Xiao Xiao's showy performance on the stage with a cold expression, but the stingy bun on her head couldn't stop laughing. In the end, Xiao Xiao began his speech. The stingy people had already prepared a brilliant and impassioned speech for him. From the power of knowledge to one's own efforts, from the ancient Zhu Chong to the modern two-bullet pioneers, all the students in the audience were intoxicated and enlightened. The principal nodded. Xiao Xiao's speech is really wonderful. Yanran couldn't help but give him a thumbs up in her heart. This person was born to shine on the stage. Give him a stage, and he can give you the whole world. Yesterday, he was still in a bad mood with her on the phone. Today it was as if he had become a different person. This person was always so real and so dazzling. In front of her, he didn't hide anything. On the other side of the field, a figure in a corner was out of place with the people around him. He didn't have a look of admiration, nor did he cheer loudly. There wasn't even a trace of joy on his face. He just stared at the glowing figure on the stage with cold, poisonous eyes like an eagle's. Hua Gang had already transferred to the school. He was 1 year older than Yanran and Xiao Xiao, and was in grade 12, class 6. Soon, Xiao Xiao realized that something was wrong. Since the first day of school, Yanran's pick-up and drop-off tasks were all snatched by him. As soon as school ended, Hua Gang would always appear at the classroom door on time. Before he could say anything to Yanran, Yanran was called away. During lunch, it was supposed to be the time for the few of them to play around. Although Yanran didn't participate much, she still went in and out with them. But now, since Hua Gang appeared, he either brought food for Yanran or accompanied Yanran to eat. After a week, Xiao Xiao finally couldn't help but explode. Big Yang, are you my brother? Of course, Brother Qiao has something to tell me. Zhang Diang was very happy to see that the school hunk had something to tell him. Do you see the boy who comes to pick up Yanran every day? I see him. Who is that? He keeps a close eye on her every day. I know. Ma Xiaoxian sneaked out from the side. That's Hua Gang from grade 12, class 6. He said outside that Yanran is his girlfriend. Pa. The pen in Xiao Zhao's hand broke into two. Zhang Diang was shocked. Brother Qiao, your hand is so strong. He's talking nonsense. How can Yanran be his girlfriend? This person has ulterior motives. Previously, I thought he was Yanran's friend and was nice to him. But now he actually dares to. Dare to what? Jiechi came up. The few of them suddenly stopped talking. Jiechi pouted. Why did you stop talking when I came? You're deliberately ostracizing me. This isn't something you girls can participate in. Zhang Diang waved his hand and wanted to chase them away. Why can't I participate? I know who you're talking about. Aren't you talking about Yanran's boyfriend? Xiao Xiao paused again. Who said he's Yanran's boyfriend? Did Yanran admit it herself? No. Why would Yanran say such things? It's just that this boy is really active. He blocks the door every day. We're guessing that if he's not her boyfriend, why would he come to our class every day? Xiao Xiao closed his eyes and scratched his head. Okay, since everyone knows about this, do you think Yanran is our good friend? Of course. Is there a need to ask? Wang Jinyun hurried over to show his loyalty after hearing that. I can tell that this boy has ulterior motives. How do you think we should deal with him? Deal with him? Should we ask Yinran if he's really her friend? Xiao Xiao closed his eyes again and gritted his teeth. Even if he's her friend, he can't ruin her reputation like this. Yinran is such a good girl. How can she fall in love at such a young age? This is forbidden by the school over and over again. Yes, this will have a bad influence on Yinran. Brother Qiao, what do you think we should do? We'll listen to you. First, we have to stop Huagang from coming to pick up Yinran. Second, we have to make Yinran realize that it's wrong for her to fall in love at such a young age. Let's divide the work. You guys go complete the first task. I'll talk to Yinran, and I'll finish the second task. Got it? Students should care for each other and help each other. When Yinran accidentally steps onto the wrong path in life, we should remind her to make sure she doesn't make any mistakes. Ma Xiaoshuan's answer was sonorous and forceful. Okay, let's do that. That afternoon, when it was almost time for school to end, Jechi suddenly bent down and leaned on the table as if she was in pain. Jechi turned her face sideways, and her eyes drifted to Yinran, who happened to pass by her seat. She grabbed her and pretended to be in pain. She said to Yinran, "Yinran, I suddenly have a stomachache. Can I trouble you to buy that for me?" Yinran understood immediately. She readily agreed. Wait a minute, I'll go right away. Then she took her phone and walked out of the classroom. Jechi secretly turned back and smiled at Xiao Xiao, Zhang Deong, and the others. Then Xiao Xiao immediately followed her. After a while, Huagang appeared at the classroom door on time. He saw that Yinran wasn't there and was about to call her. Wang Jinyan seemed to be passing by and said to him with a smile, "Are you here to pick up Yinran again? She was called by the teacher to participate in an activity. Don't wait for her." Student, do you know where she's participating in the activity? I'm not sure. I think she went to another school. Xiao Xiao followed Yinran to the snack bar at the school gate and pulled her into a small forest behind the school building. What are you doing? Xiao Xiao, I have to buy something for Jechi. It's urgent. I've already asked someone to buy it for her. I have something to say to you. Xiao Xiao didn't let go at all and pulled Yinran into the forest with a strong attitude. Yinran looked at Xiao Xiao, who seemed to be a little angry, and stopped struggling. Yinran, I want to tell you that you've created a bad impression in front of your classmates. What bad impression? They said that you're in a relationship. It's spread among your classmates. Yinran heard this and looked at Xiao Xiao's serious expression. She believed it and said, "But I'm not in a relationship." Hearing Yinran's denial, Xiao Xiao felt a lot better. Huagang picks you up on time every day. He also told others that you're his girlfriend. It's spread throughout the school. No way. Huagang isn't that kind of person. In Yinran's heart, Huagang was a big brother next door. He had a strong sense of justice since he was young and would never do such a dirty thing. Why not? Our classmates heard it with their own ears. And even if we go to the same school, do you have to stick together all day? This rumor would spread to the teacher's ears. You forgot the school's discipline. Puppy love is not allowed. Okay, I know. I'll tell Huagang. I've never asked him to pick me up. Maybe he thinks it's convenient. Xiao Xiao was speechless. Yinran looked like she had a high IQ, but she was like a block of wood when it came to relationships. All the teachers and students in the school knew what other people thought of her. She was like a block of wood. Xiao Xiao was exasperated at her failure to live up to his expectations. After speaking, Yinran turned to leave. Xiao Xiao couldn't let go of this good opportunity. He grabbed Yinran and said with an aggrieved expression, "You said you would take a walk with me last time. You haven't fulfilled your promise." "I didn't promise you. Why didn't you promise?" "I'll record what you say next time." Yinran thought about it. It seemed to be what Xiao Xiao said last time when they had dinner together. Weren't those words you said in a fit of pique? How can you believe that? No, I believe it. If you don't want to take a walk with me, you can go to the library with me to read. Yinran thought for a moment. She was a person who kept her promises. Looking at Xiao Xiao's coquettish, cute, and handsome face, she sighed. Originally, she had other things to deal with this afternoon. Forget it, she would accompany him for a while. Chapter 61. Just like that, Xiao Xiao finally got what he wanted and could stay with Yanran for a while. He excitedly pulled Yanran along the way and told her about the books he had read recently and the knowledge he had learned. Yanran looked at his starry eyes and couldn't help but feel a little moved. She was addicted to the boy's blossoming eyes and his intoxicating smile that could never be closed. Ever since his demonic energy was controlled, Yanran finally understood his handsomeness. His face was so exquisitely carved, and every expression was an exquisite painting. Beautiful things could easily make people sink into them. At this time, Yanran stared at him, her thoughts drifting away. Beautiful things always made people want to have and protect them. The two of them came to the library together and found 2 seats to sit down. Xiao Xiao was like a treasured gourd. His stomach was always full of things to say. He poured out everything he could think of to share with Yanran. So much so that his voice somewhat disturbed the students who were reading next door. Yanran shushed him. The library needs to be quiet. Let's read first. Xiao Xiao immediately pursed his lips, opened his pair of innocent eyes, and blinked several times at Yanran. And it was these few blinks that directly entered Yanran's heart. Someone next to them happened to catch Xiao Xiao's cute expression. Yanran next to them looked at him with a smile. Although only half of the girl's face could be seen, and it was impossible to recognize who it was, the light in the girl's eyes could still be seen. She was completely attracted to this boy. Then this photo was posted on Tieba. Unfortunately, it directly exposed Wang Jinyan's lie. Others couldn't tell who the girl was. But Huagang recognized at a glance that it was Yanran. He waited in the classroom every day. He didn't expect that one day when he didn't pick her up, he would create an opportunity for them. He slammed his fist on the phone, and the screen immediately cracked like a spider web, just like his mood. In the evening, Huagang received a WeChat message from Yanran. Don't come to pick me up anymore. It's bad for your image in school. Her cold words cut Huagang's heart like a knife. He knew that Yanran meant what she said. Since she had spoken, there was no room for negotiation. Huagang was also very outstanding since he was young. There were countless girls who liked him, but Yanran was the light in his life. Ever since he saw Yanran for the first time when he was a child, he had fallen in love with this cold girl. However, Yanran was like an illusory veil. It seemed to brush past your face, but you could never chase into her heart. Perhaps it was because he couldn't get her that Huagang was more persistent. This trace of obsession expanded infinitely in his blood. It had already pierced a steel needle into his heart. Only by getting it could he be free. Huagang's eyes were like paint, turning from black to red, and then from red to black. It wasn't easy for him to ask his parents to transfer to this school for Yanran's sake, just to be closer to her. Perhaps he was too hasty and watched too closely. However, there was still time in the future. He cast a big net that covered the sky, and would catch all demons and monsters in one fell swoop. The annual basketball game was about to start. As the golden age of sports students, he must help the school win the league championship. Zhang Daong pestered Xiao Xiao for a few days, hoping that he could go to the game with them. However, Xiao Xiao's mind was now in the library, and he didn't have time to play basketball. Brother Xiao, take pity on me. Without you in the basketball game, our school will definitely be finished. Don't be so unconfident in yourself. Having you is enough. Xiao Xiao stroked his head to comfort him. Brother Xiao, don't. Without you, I don't have a backbone. How can we play this game? Zhang Dayang's face was bitter. He almost knelt down in front of Xiao Xiao. Who else is going to participate? Xiao Xiao was a little helpless with his pestering. Every class has one. As long as it's a sports student, basically all of them have signed up. Is the number not enough? The number is enough, but the quality is not high. I heard that this year, other schools have sent the best of the best. If we lose, we will lose face. Zhang Daong continued to bitterly analyze the pros and cons for Xiao Xiao. A figure walked past Xiao Xiao's eyes. Before he could speak, Zhang Daong rushed forward like an arrow. Sister Yanran, Brother Xiao listens to you the most. Let him participate in the basketball game. Xiao Xiao immediately pulled Zhang Daong back. What nonsense are you talking about? Why do I listen to Yanran the most? Everyone has seen it for themselves. Ma Xiaoxian didn't mind blowing things up and also joined in. That seems to be the case. Xiao Xiao criticized in his heart. Yanran didn't hold back. If you have the ability, then go and win glory for the school. This is a good thing, but you have to learn self-control. When Xiao Xiao heard this, he knew that Yanran was saying that he had to control the devil's aura. He approached Yanran with a seductive smile on his face. If you want to watch me play basketball, I will participate. Yanran was flashed by his smile, and two words appeared in her mind. Evildoer. Her little heart clearly trembled. Then she calmed down and coldly said, I will go when I have time. Just like this, Xiao Xiao was smoothly pulled into the basketball team by Zhang Deong. But I have to say, I will participate in the usual training when I have time. Count me in for the game. Okay. There is a great God in charge. We will definitely win the championship. Zhang Deong excitedly spun in circles. Soon, the list of players for the basketball game was announced on the school's tieba. F*CK, this Qiao Zhao's limelight in the school is getting fiercer and fiercer. Why is he also in this basketball game? Huang Bo and his friends angrily sat on the grass and scrolled through the tieba. He is just a gigolo. What else does he have besides that face? Ever since the last 3 kilometers run, Huang Bo hated Xiao Xiao to the core. However, he could only talk about it with his mouth. There was nothing he could do, and they rarely interacted with each other. Ever since Xiao Xiao was obsessed with the bookstore, the number of times he played basketball had significantly decreased. Even if he played, he would not fight with Huang Bo and his friends. Boss, are you not going to take revenge for last time? Report. Of course I will. Revenge is a dish best served cold. There will always be a time when he is unlucky. Isn't he also going to participate in the basketball game this time? I don't believe that I can't find a chance. Brother Qiao, I found a big piece of news. Wang Jingyan moved to Qiao Zhao's side. Look at your basketball game this time. There is a very familiar name. It is that Hu Gang who claimed to be Yanran's boyfriend last time. Wang Jingyan handed his phone to Qiao Xiao, as if he was presenting a treasure. It was really a lingering spirit. During this period of time, he had not seen Hu Gang. Xiao Xiao felt comfortable in his heart. How could he bump into him even when playing basketball? I heard that this Hu Gang is very good at basketball. He used to be on the school team in his school, so the school will definitely not let him go this time. Someone had posted everyone's resumes on Tieba. Xiao Zhao's resume was needless to say, but the most eye-catching one was Hu Gang. His grades were ranked first in his grade before he transferred. He was excellent in all aspects. This time, he ranked second in the Information Science Olympiad. He used to be the captain of his former school's basketball team, and led the school to win several league championships. The Tieba said that Hu Gang was poached by the school with great difficulty. Walking snow. This year's championship is definitely in the bag. Waves with you. After Brother Qiao, I have a second god that I admire. Sand sculpture crossing the river. God, please lead our school to win the championship. Biscuit expires. Gurus nowadays are so awesome. All-round development. Can't you leave a way out for us mortals? Brother Qiao's fan club. Brother Qiao is first, Hu Gang is second. This basketball game attracted the attention of the whole school from the beginning. Brother Qiao has training in the afternoon, remember to come. Zhang Deong ran out with his bag after school. Before he left, he did not forget to remind Xiao Xiao. Yes, hurry up. We won't be able to stand in the front row later. Jieqi also quickly packed her bag and prepared to rush to the stadium. Jieqi, I don't want to go to training this afternoon. You don't have to rush. Xiao Xiao slowly packed his bag and stopped Jieqi, who was about to run out. Ah! Jieqi's eyes were a little evasive. Brother Qiao, their basketball team wants me to take a few photos for them, so I have to go quickly. Hey Jieqi, aren't you Brother Qiao's exclusive photographer? Why did you fall in love with someone else? Ma Xiaoxian, the little loudspeaker shouted again. What nonsense are you talking about? Brother Qiao will always be my favorite. But there are many other handsome guys on the basketball court. They also want me to show them my elegance. I won't talk about it anymore. I'll go first. Bye. After saying that, Jieqi ran away like the wind. This Jechi has recently been infatuated with Huagang. Miao Xiaotong mysteriously explained to everyone. Ever since she saw Huagang play basketball once, she completely fell in love with him, and still can't extricate herself. Brother Qiao, it seems that you have to take action. Otherwise you will lose fans. Wang Jingyan concluded. Xiao Xiao was a little unhappy. How could his exclusive photographer fall in love with someone else? He turned his eyes and saw Yinran packing her bag. Yinran, you see, my photographer has changed sides. Can you make a cameo? What cameo? Yinran didn't understand. You can take some beautiful photos for me. I don't have time. Then I won't go. Xiao Xiao leaned back in his chair and simply pulled over a chair and sat down. Brother Qiao, you haven't practiced even once, right? Zhang Daong has said several times that if you don't go, you may only be a substitute. At that time, you won't even have a chance to take photos. Ma Xiaoxian told the truth. Xiao Xiao didn't speak. Little He was angry and sat on Xiao Xiao's head with his arms crossed. Yinran remembered that she had promised Xiao Xiao before. She was also the one who had asked Xiao Xiao to participate in the basketball game. Seeing him like this, she knew that he was throwing a tantrum. So she picked up her bag and said to Xiao Xiao, "Let's go." Xiao Xiao was instantly revived. He couldn't hide the smile in his eyes. He threw his bag over his shoulder and strode to the court with Yanran. The stands in the gymnasium were full of people. When Xiao Xiao and the others entered from the back court, the court had already begun to prepare for the game. Xiao Xiao changed his clothes and ran into the gymnasium. He bowed to the PE teacher. The teacher looked at the handsome boy and patted him on the shoulder. You finally came to practice. Good job. The students in the stands saw that Xiao Xiao actually came to the game today and burst into excited screams. Xiao Xiao turned his head 360 degrees and waved his hand. He put on a charming smile and immediately captured the hearts of countless girls. Chapter 62. Huagang looked at Xiao Xiao's back. Xiao Xiao had stolen his limelight as soon as he arrived. His face was expressionless, but in his heart, there were thousands of alpacas galloping. He looked around and found that one of his team members was also staring at Xiao Xiao. It was as if he wanted to burn a hole in his back. It was Huang Bo. Huagang's eyes flashed. He walked forward and greeted Xiao Xiao. The few of them began training. Today's training was still very crucial. It involved the arrangement of the entire team. The coach helped them line up roughly, and then divided them into two teams for an actual game. Adjustments would be made depending on the situation. There were a total of 15 people in the team. Only 5 people could play. The most important ones were the point guard and the small forward. The point guard was the person who had the most chances to get the ball on the court. He had to safely bring the ball from the backcourt to the front court, and then pass the ball to other teammates. Only then would the others have a chance to score. If the small forward was the protagonist of a play, then the point guard was the director of the play. The small forward was the most important scorer on the team. The most basic requirement for the small forward was to be able to score, and to score from a longer distance. When the small forward received the ball, the first thing he thought of was how to stuff the ball into the basket. The small forward's basic job was to score, and score again. They were not only competing for the opportunity to play, but also for the 2 key positions. Soon the setup was set up. It was 5 against 5. The battle was about to start. Xiao Xiao and Huagang were in different teams. Huang Bo asked to be on the same team as Huagang. The cheerleaders at the scene were immediately divided into 2 factions. One faction was Xiao Xiao's diehard fans. The other faction was Huagang's new fangirls. There were also people like Jechi who were wavering. They loved both sides. How could they choose? When the whistle blew, Xiao Xiao took the ball first. His dribbling ability was very good. He bypassed the defender next to him and dribbled the ball across the half court without any problem. At this time he was a guard. He flipped his hands, and the basketball was thrown out of his chest. His teammate caught it and immediately made a 3-step layup. The basketball was already flying in the air, but it was suddenly slapped down by Huagang. Huagang's jumping ability was amazing. The crowd immediately cheered. Huagang took the ball and turned around. He used the back of his body to block the person who came forward to grab the ball. The ball followed the direction of his hand and turned around. Then he jumped on the spot and dunked. The ball went in. The cheers became even louder. Huagang landed on the ground with his hands on his hips. He shook his head violently and smiled unrestrainedly. Because Qiao Zhao's position was in the back, what he needed to do was to make the ball flow more smoothly. For his position, he generally did not shoot the ball easily. In short, there was an unchanging principle for controlling a player. If there was any teammate on the court who had a better chance than him, he would definitely pass the ball to the teammate who had a better chance. This was actually a bit of a waste of Qiao Zhao's talent. He was an all-around player. He was fast and could dunk accurately. But this was arranged by the coach. There was no other way. Huagang was different. He was a small forward. He had come to practice several times. The coach knew him well. So this time he was directly arranged to be a small forward. A small forward was the most important scorer on the team. At the same time, he also had to have good defensive ability. Huagang was 185 meters tall and was also quite fast. With his outstanding speed, fast attacks and breakthroughs, he could quickly score points. In the previous games, more than 80% of the points were scored by Huagang. He could be said to be an all-around player on their team. He was good at shooting and dribbling in and out of the court. He was also very skilled in other skills. Huagang's physique belonged to the strong type. His muscles were very developed. At the same time, he moved very quickly, was agile, and had sufficient jumping power. Soon, Qiao Zhao realized that his team did not have a key figure like Huagang. Under Huagang's attack, the others were simply unable to resist. He had to do it himself. He requested to change positions with the coach. He directly said to the coach, "I am good at both offense and defense. My task is to be responsible for scoring." Then the situation on the court changed dramatically. Huagang was like a fierce tiger coming down from the mountain, and Qiao Zhao was like a dragon coming out of the sea. In an instant, the score on the court was tied. This was completely Qiao Zhao's home court. It could even be said that Huagang did not have much of a chance. Qiao Zhao increased his speed to the fastest. As long as the ball was not in Huagang's hands, Qiao Zhao could quickly get the ball. The final result would definitely be a dunk. However, if the ball was in Huagang's hands, it would be more troublesome. Huagang's ability to avoid people was very good. After all, with his height and strength, it was not so easy for Qiao Zhao to intercept the ball from his hands. Huagang's speed was also very fast. He often turned around, and the ball flew to the basket before the others could react. Later, Qiao Zhao changed his style of play and directly snatched the ball from under the basket. As long as Huagang did not directly dunk, Qiao Zhao could spin up no matter what angle he was at. He could directly intercept the ball in the air and pass the ball to the opposite court. The players on Qiao Zhao's side had already taken advantage of this gap to plug in. With a perfect combination, the ball went in. The two sides were in a deadlock going back and forth. The audience on the court watched with their hearts racing and were very nervous. When Huagang saw that Qiao Zhao was so fierce, he increased the spiritual energy in his body by a level. The blue energy above his head soared to the sky. When Qiao Zhao's basketball brushed past him, he suddenly leaned back. The weight of his body pressed down on Qiao Zhao like a heavy punch. Qiao Zhao sneered and turned around beautifully. Then, he released an extremely strong demonic energy. Bang! The two people collided with each other fiercely. Huagang was actually knocked 3 steps away, while Qiao Zhao did not move at all. Yinran's eyes suddenly shrank. She did not expect Qiao Zhao's demonic energy to be so powerful now. At this time, the demonic energy above Qiao Zhao's head soared to the ceiling. Oh no! Both of them used their true qi. Yinran knew that Huagang was a straightforward person. Seeing such a soaring demonic energy, he would definitely hate evil as if it was his enemy. Maybe they would fight on the spot. Qiao Zhao did not control it at all. He wantonly released it everywhere. Using his physical advantage, he used the fiercest confrontation to suppress Huagang, so that he could not attack as he pleased. At this moment, Huagang had already climbed up from the ground. His eyes were red, like a hungry wolf that wanted to eat people. He quickly rushed toward Qiao Zhao like a sharp knife. wanting to pierce through all the demons and ghosts in this world. Xiao Xiao was not afraid of him at all. The basketball in his hand was like his dragon claws, freely retracting and releasing it. He ran faster than a fled dragon. Everyone only saw a shadow floating by. Xiao Xiao had already reached the basket from the side. With a standard 3-step layup, the basketball was firmly buckled into the basket. They won. The first game was over. Xiao Xiao's team defeated Huagang's team by 3 points. The game was over, but Huagang and Xiao Xiao's game was not over. Huagang did not wait for the coach to announce the result. He directly pulled Xiao Xiao and dragged him away from the scene. When the audience saw this, they were stunned. Only Yinran knew what was going on. She quickly followed him. The two walked very fast. As soon as they entered the locker room, Huagang punched Xiao Xiao's face. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was not someone who was willing to suffer a loss. She punched Huagang in the stomach with a backhand. Soon, Huagang and Xiao Xiao were locked in a fierce fight. It was hard to tell who had the upper hand. They punched and kicked each other. It was as if they wanted to make the other disappear from their sight. Huagang had completely aroused the evil in Xiao Xiao's heart. At this time, his eyes were also red. He did not care about controlling himself at all. Huagang was not easy to deal with. Huagang, who had been trained in fighting since he was a child, used all his skills and vowed to kill this demon. Some of the unhappiness in their hearts was exposed at this time. Huagang hated Xiao Xiao to the extreme. Xiao Xiao had never liked Huagang, who was a hindrance. This was an excellent opportunity. They were evenly matched. Huagang, who had been training for a long time, had the upper hand. Soon, Xiao Xiao was beaten to the ground by him. He could not get up. "Don't you think you can defeat me, you demon? Never in your life." He choked Xiao Xiao's neck and said in the fiercest voice. He gradually used more strength in his hands. Xiao Xiao's neck was being choked between his 2 hands. Soon he could not breathe. His face began to turn red. The evil in his body skyrocketed. His whole body had turned black. Yinran followed the two's footsteps. However, she was still a step too late. When she heard the sound of fighting in the men's changing room, Yinran did not care if there were other men inside. She directly rushed in. At this time, just as Xiao Xiao was about to fall unconscious, Huagang suddenly heard the sound of the door opening. He thought it was a pity that someone had come. He quickly withdrew his hands and pretended to lie on the ground. Suddenly, Xiao Xiao felt his neck relax. He could finally catch his breath. Out of his emergency response, he immediately pounced on Huagang. When Yinran rushed in, she found that Huagang had been pressed to the ground by Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao's knee was pressed against Huagang's stomach. One of his hands was choking Huagang's throat. It was as if a man-eating monster was biting off the neck of its prey. "Xiao Xiao, stop!" Yinran shouted. After that, he quickly formed an incantation and tied Xiao Xiao up from head to toe. Then, she quickly rushed in front of Huagang. Huagang's face was covered in blood. At this time, in front of Yinran, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Yinran was shocked. She didn't expect Huagang to be injured so badly. She raised her head and looked at Xiao Xiao. She found that other than some demonic aura surrounding him and a choking mark on his neck, he didn't have any injuries. At this time, Xiao Xiao saw Yinran arrive. He was overjoyed. Ignoring the ropes on his body, he twisted his body and looked at Yinran with a longing expression. But he opened his mouth, nothing came out. His neck had been choked until he was mute. However, Yinran ignored Xiao Xiao's joy. She only said to him indifferently, "You disappoint me." Yinran was angry. She ignored him and quickly helped Huagang out of the changing room. Chapter 63. The school was shocked by the fight between Huagang and Xiao Xiao. Huagang's injuries were more serious, so he had been sent to the hospital. Zhang Deong, who had arrived later, was also shocked when he saw Xiao Xiao's miserable state. Xiao Xiao knew that Huagang only hit places that couldn't be seen. Other than the first punch to the face, the rest of the punches were all to the bone. As long as he moved a little, he could feel that his internal injuries were serious. The pain in his bones was like needles, and it would take at least 10 days to half a month for him to recover. The blood on Huagang's face was all external injuries. so it wasn't a big deal at all. Xiao Xiao was now sure that Hu Gang was full of malice towards him. Now that he thought about it, the biggest suspect in the attack in Xining should be Hu Gang. Hu Gang was injured, so Yanran couldn't leave no matter what, so she stayed by his side. During this period of time, she had been hospitalized more than she had been in the previous 10 years. Hu Gang's injuries looked serious, and his face was wrapped in gauze. Yanran, you won't blame me, right? I couldn't control myself when I saw the fierce demonic aura coming out of his head. I really didn't mean to fight with him. I just wanted to ask him clearly. I didn't expect that the moment I entered the locker room, he would release his demonic aura and attack me. I know he's your friend, and I really didn't have the intention to hurt him. But Yanran, do you really want to protect him? Didn't you see how strong the demonic aura was? When he fought with me just now, he definitely wanted to kill me. Fortunately, I practiced fighting since I was young, so I didn't die in his hands. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see you at all. Hu Gang raised his head and glanced at Yanran. Then he lowered his head and murmured, I'm sorry, Yanran. I shouldn't have clashed with your friend. I'm really sorry. Yanran had been absent-minded the whole time. She was still thinking about Xiao Zhao's happy expression when he saw her. That was the kind of expression he had every time he saw her saving him. There was no mistaking it. It was the same expression every time. Why hasn't he realized his mistake yet? On the contrary, he was overjoyed. When would this guy grow up? Yanran. Hu Gang waved his hand in front of Yanran's eyes and found that there was still no reaction. So he directly pushed her knee. I'm sorry, Hu Gang. I didn't hear what you just said. Yanran suddenly reacted. I'm sorry. I've made things difficult for you. Hu Gang put on a sad expression. It's not your fault. This time, it's all his fault. I'll teach him a lesson. Yanran's tone was like a mother protecting her child. Hu Gang's heart sank. Yanran, from now on, he'll definitely be a heinous person. Are you still not awake? Hu Gang suddenly raised his voice. Shouldn't we remove the demonic aura from him now? Why are you still protecting him? 3 questions in a row. Yanran couldn't handle them. He's not like that. I'll deal with him. You just have to do your own thing. Recover first. I'll go back first. Yanran's businesslike words made Hu Gang's heart sink to the bottom. His hand involuntarily grasped the bedsheet next to him. After leaving the hospital, Yanran went to Xiao Zhao's house. She didn't want to admit that she was worried about Xiao Zhao's injuries. She made up her mind to severely criticize Xiao Zhao. He couldn't control the demonic aura, so he must be punished. Otherwise, it would be over if it caused more serious consequences in the future. When Uncle Wu opened the door and saw Yanran, his heart hurt. Miss Yanran, young master has suffered this time. He's injured all over. Quickly go and take a look. Yanran originally had a straight face, but when she heard Uncle Wu's words, she was a little worried. When she left before, she didn't feel that Xiao Zhao's injuries were serious. How did it become like this in such a short time? Xiao Zhao lay on the bed with his eyes closed. He looked very pitiful. He only turned on a bedside lamp. The shadow of the lamp reflected on his face, making him look pale. Yanran sat on the chair beside the bed and shouted, Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao closed his eyes. You're here. His voice was weak and disappointed. Yanran swallowed the reprimanding words that were about to come out of her mouth. Instead, she asked, How are you? I won't die. Xiao Zhao was a little annoyed. Yanran looked at his attitude and couldn't help but feel a little angry. Her voice became a little cold. Do you know that you're wrong today? When Xiao Zhao heard this, he looked up at Yanran. He saw that the little purple bun on her head was incomparably cold, so he sneered. What's wrong with me? If someone wants to kill me, should I just stretch my neck out for him to kill me? Xiao Zhao's voice was very hoarse. It was very difficult for him to say such a long sentence. At this time, Yanran noticed that there was a bruise on Xiao Zhao's neck. At this time, medicine had been applied. Your neck. Did Hu Gang choke you? Yanran still couldn't believe it. What? You still don't believe me? Your most trusted friend? Xiao Zhao sneered. Yanran didn't say anything. She raised her hand and gathered spiritual power in her palm. She attached the spiritual power to Xiao Zhao's neck, and the restoration technique slowly took effect. Xiao Xiao felt that his throat was a little better. He could finally drink water. He wanted to sit up on the bed, but as soon as he moved he fell back. His whole body hurt. He gritted his teeth and wanted to reach for the cup by the bed, but he couldn't reach it twice. Yanran quickly picked up the cup and fed it to his lips. Xiao Xiao couldn't even sit up at this time. Seeing this, Yanran directly held his head up, leaned against her chest, and fed him water. Xiao Xiao swallowed 2 mouthfuls of water with great effort and began to pant uncomfortably. He leaned against Yanran's chest and looked forward. You cultivators are really strong. You beat me to death when you saw me. Do I deserve to die because I have devil chi on me? Who did I wrong? Who tried to hurt me time and time again? At first, I thought that I lost in basketball and was a little unconvinced. I didn't expect that I would directly kill you. If I didn't have devil chi protecting me, I think all the bones in my body would be broken. Yanran's eyelashes trembled. Let me see your injuries. Men and women shouldn't touch each other. Have you forgotten? Xiao Xiao flatly refused. Let me see. I'll help you treat your injuries. You can just treat me as a doctor. Xiao Xiao looked at Yanran's determined eyes and suddenly smiled bitterly. Don't be scared. After saying that, he lifted his shirt, revealing a sexy and strong chest. His lean upper body was in full view. His collarbones were straight and sexy. His strong chest and abdominal muscles didn't have a trace of fat. Under the light, they emitted a kind of evil charm. His waist was narrow and strong, extending down and hidden in the waist of his pants. It was as if Yanran had a sense of suffocation that penetrated her soul. At this time, the most frightening thing was that on top of this sexy body, there were large patches of purple. If it wasn't for the dim light covering it, it would have been very scary. Yanran suppressed her shyness and threw the strange heartache in her heart to the back of her mind. She took a deep breath and cleared her mind. Then she raised her hand and circulated her spiritual energy. She moved it about the height of her index finger from his chest and began to heal his injuries. Yanran's hand was warm and moved along every inch of Xiao Xiao's skin. Her spiritual energy entered his limbs and bones, making him feel incomparably comfortable. Xiao Xiao lay down flat, and the pain in his body finally eased a lot. After a while, Xiao Xiao didn't feel anything at first, but gradually, Xiao Xiao felt that something was wrong. The warm spiritual energy penetrated his skin, and his body seemed to be brushed by a weak electric current, causing waves of tremors. The tremors spread throughout his body and quickly went down. Yanran's hand went lower and lower. Soon it was touching his waist. Xiao Xiao suddenly grabbed her hand. His face was slightly red and his eyelids drooped. That's enough, Yanran. It's not done yet. There is still a large patch of purple here. Yanran didn't understand and wanted to continue. Xiao Xiao grabbed Yanran's hand and held it in his palm. Don't worry about him. Let's talk. It will be done in 10 days or half a month. But there is still a lot. Yanran was a little anxious. It's all over my body. Don't tell me you want to touch my whole body. His hot words directly burned Yanran's face. What nonsense are you talking about? I didn't touch you. Touching you is more exciting than touching me. Xiao Xiao said this and frowned in pain. It was already difficult for him to speak. His voice was hoarse as if he had a bad cold. Yanran wanted to withdraw her hand, but Xiao Xiao held it tightly. He put Yanran's hand on his chest. Now I know who attacked me in Xining. Yanran's heart skipped a beat. You mean Huagang? Xiao Xiao looked at Yanran's eyes and nodded affirmatively. I don't know if he was the one who did the thing on the internet, but it was definitely him who attacked me in the hotel. Today he accidentally let it slip. He said that I was a devil. Yanran was silent. She wanted to argue that there might be other reasons for this sentence, but Yanran didn't say it. She didn't know how to comment on this matter. In the beginning, she was the same as Huagang, but she wasn't as impulsive as Huagang. She made a judgment through her own observation. She couldn't even say that Huagang was wrong. Huagang had asked her before, but he was strictly forbidden. I'm sorry. Yanran lowered her head. What's there to be sorry about? You've helped me so many times. Don't apologize to me because of him. Is he really your boyfriend? Xiao Xiao was out of breath when he finished speaking. Yanran suddenly looked up. Who did you hear that from? There's no such thing. It's all over the school. Maybe he spread it himself. Xiao Xiao rubbed Yinran's fingers, lowered his eyes, and said in an extremely low voice, "My heart hurts." This was the first time Xiao Xiao told Yinran his thoughts. Maybe people were really fragile when they were hurt. After speaking, he closed his eyes. Yinran's hand was pressed against his heart. Xiao Xiao, don't think too much. I have nothing to do with him. I apologize to you on his behalf. Because he's a cultivator. I didn't explain it to him clearly. I'll work harder. I won't let today's things happen again. I won't be afraid of him even if it happens again. Xiao Xiao opened his eyes again and stared at Yinran seriously. If I have a conflict with him next time, whose side will you be on? The words Yinran wanted to say were suddenly stuck in her mouth. This was a problem she had never encountered before. Xiao Xiao smiled sadly. I know. I won't make it difficult for you. Xiao Xiao's smile seemed to gouge out Yinran's heart. Chapter 64. Slowly, Xiao Xiao stopped talking, and the whole room fell into silence. Xiao Xiao closed his eyes and frowned, because of the discomfort caused by the pain. After a while, Xiao Xiao's steady breathing came from the room, and he finally fell asleep from exhaustion. His beautiful face calmed down, like a prince who had entered the land of dreams, or like a baby, completely defenseless. Yinran looked at him like this, tracing his every edge and every corner. After a long time, Yinran's hand moved. She wanted to pull it out, but because Xiao Xiao was holding it so tightly, it was a little numb. She gently pried Xiao Xiao's fingers away, not waking him up. Then she used the white gas around her, wrapping Xiao Xiao's whole body in it. This consumed a lot of her spiritual power, and it was different from the local healing just now. It was equivalent to directly transferring her spiritual power into Xiao Xiao's body. At this time, Yinran didn't care. She only knew that she didn't know why, but she felt a sense of guilt in her heart, and she wanted to make up for it. The pain in Xiao Xiao's body melted little by little, and the piercing pain that had entered his bones was directly pulled out by Yinran. After everything was done, her whole body seemed to have been washed by water, and she collapsed on the chair next to the bed. After recovering a little, she helped Xiao Xiao cover with the quilt, tucked in the corner of the quilt, and pushed away the loose hair in front of his eyes. She stared at him for a while, and then left the room. When Xiao Xiao woke up in the morning, he saw the light coming in through the curtains, faintly hitting his big bed. He still remembered that Yinran was sitting next to him yesterday, but now she was nowhere to be seen, and the quilt was neatly covered. He moved his whole body, and felt a lot more relaxed. He propped up the pillow and leaned on the bed. The little tadpoles in his mind seemed to have sensed their master's heavy mood, and all of them didn't dare to speak. Is there any way to make me stronger? Xiao Xiao said to himself. At this moment, the little tadpoles knew that their master was asking them. They knew that their master had been hung up and beaten yesterday. At that time, they could only hide in their own rooms, not daring to make a sound. But today, he couldn't hide it any longer. His master had already come to his doorstep. Each of the tadpoles quickly began to search their own rooms. They dug out all of their memories, to find a way to make the crown prince of the devil world stronger. How could a book in the human world contain a method from the demon world? Master, you have to read some books about the demon realm. Our knowledge base is too poor right now. There are no records about it. Xiao Xiao leaned on the bed and lowered his head. He had never wanted to become stronger as much as he did now. Uncle Wu had once told him that if he wanted these cultivators to not be able to do anything to him, he had to be stronger. He plunged into the room on the second floor. There was a large pile of books inside. He flipped through the obscure books from beginning to end. The words that he couldn't understand before were now easy to understand with the help of spirit spells. The little tadpoles saw that their job had come. They were finally motivated to help their master. It was as if they had been injected with chicken blood. They crazily absorbed the contents of the strange books in the demon world to find the most suitable cultivation method for their master. Time passed bit by bit. Uncle Wu came up to him and said, "Before Miss Yinran left yesterday, she said that she would help you apply for leave from school today. She wants you to have a good rest. Xiao Xiao raised his head and didn't say anything. He continued to look down and read. He locked himself in the study for 7 days. He asked Uncle Wu to help him apply for leave. When he walked out of the room again, there were more things in his eyes. Yanran also rested at home for a day. However, she didn't see Xiao Xiao at school the next day. She found Huagang, and once again emphasized to him that Xiao Xiao's demonic energy wasn't evil energy. It was a kind of black energy that he carried with him. It was harmless to humans. Huagang only smiled coldly. Yanran, do you think I'm a child? I've said it before. Please don't touch him. Yanran's voice also turned cold. You can stop me, but can you stop other cultivators? Huagang suddenly became agitated and grabbed Yanran's shoulders. Yanran, don't be blinded by him. There are many boys in this world who are good to you. Why don't you open your eyes and look? The one in front of you is one. Yanran blocked his 2 hands. I hope that you don't use your eyes to look, but use your heart to observe. I also don't want you to do any sneaky tricks. This is not the character that we cultivators should have. After saying this, Yanran left without looking back. The heartlessness in her eyes was like a needle that fiercely pierced Huagang's heart. Staring at Yanran's departing figure, Huagang's nerves were all touched by her beautiful figure and slender waist. This was the girl he had loved since he was a child. At this moment, she was arguing with him because of another boy. Huagang fiercely punched the small tree beside him. With a crack, the small tree broke. However, Huagang still wasn't satisfied. He picked up the branch and broke it into pieces piece by piece. The black blood in his body began to flow wildly and recklessly. He laughed loudly and rushed towards the originally pure blood. The black blood was very proud that they were able to quickly take over Huagang's body. Because Xiao Xiao and Huagang fought during training, the school posted a notice on the school's bulletin board that they would be punished. The other students still thought that it was a normal fight and didn't think much of it. Huagang's injuries were very light. He came to school the next day as usual. However, Xiao Xiao didn't appear on campus for 7 days. Brother Qiao, what's wrong with him? He hasn't come to school for so many days. Is his injury serious? Zhang Daong was a little worried. Should we go see him? Ma Xiaoxian also responded enthusiastically. No need to disturb him. Let him rest at home. He'll be back in 2 days. Yanran directly answered for Xiao Xiao. When Xiao Xiao didn't come to school the next day, Yanran called Uncle Wu. Uncle Wu told her that Xiao Xiao was cultivating. She was relieved. Sure enough, on the 2nd day of their discussion, that crazy and cool Xiao Xiao came back. As soon as he entered school, he went around flirting with people. Soon, a handsome 9 palace picture appeared on the front page of Tieba. Yanran saw that Xiao Xiao was laughing among a group of girls. She directly left Tieba. Out of sight, out of mind. It seemed that he had recovered quite well, and had become even more dashing and elegant. Brother Qiao, you're finally back. We missed you so much. We thought that you were seriously injured from the fight last time. As soon as Xiao Xiao entered the classroom, Ma Xiaoxian pounced on him to show his loyalty. Zhang Daong was also very happy. Brother Qiao, you're finally back. Did you know? That day, your wonderful performance on the field made the whole stadium explode. The coach gave you the position of small forward. But the coach also said that if you and Huagang fight again, both of you will be disqualified from the game. Zhang Daong was very honest. He said whatever was on his mind. Okay, Zhang Daong, don't talk too much. Brother Qiao just came today. Don't talk about these unhappy things. Wang Jinyan desperately winked at Zhang Daong. Xiao Xiao walked to Yanran's table and knocked on Yanran's table with the edge of his sunglasses. Hey beautiful, did you miss me these 2 days? Yanran directly rolled her eyes at him. I say Yanran, when the other girls saw me, they all rushed over from afar. Why are you the only one rolling your eyes at me? You still haven't been infatuated with my great beauty. How can Sister Yanran compare to those ordinary girls? Sister Yanran is a goddess who has descended to earth. Of course, she has to wait for you to worship her. Jiechi was definitely standing on Yanran's side. Speaking of which, you haven't been infatuated with my beauty. Have you been infatuated with my strong chest and charming waist? Xiao Xiao simply lay on Yanran's table and blinked at Yinran cutely. You went to the Hoodlum Academy these few days, didn't you? Yinran continued to ignore him, maintaining her cold and aloof attitude. That's right. Brother Qiao, the words you said today are classic hoodlum quotes. Do you really have strong chest muscles and a mesmerizing waistline? Let us see. Zhang Daong said as he exaggeratedly lifted Qiao Zhao's clothes. Qiao Zhao blocked him with one hand. Only my harem has the qualifications to admire my chest and waist. If you want to admire them, then join my harem first. The few of them laughed and joked. Although Yinran's expression was like 10,000 years of unchanging plain boiled water, when she heard Qiao Zhao's provocative words, she couldn't help but think of that knight's strong chest and charming waist. The little purple bun on top of her head shyly held her face and lowered her head. Soon everything was on the right track. Classes, training, and the library were parallel. The days were simple and orderly. Hua Gang and Xiao Xiao were like two strangers during the entire training period. If they didn't have to interact, then they didn't have to. Although the training continued as usual, the coach was quite dissatisfied. You're fighting as a team, not as an individual. If you rely on individual heroism, then this game can't be played. The coach would yell this sentence more than 3 times during every training session. I can definitely hit the basket with the ball. What's there to pass? Hua Gang didn't even look at the coach. I can get more than 30 points by myself. What are you worried about? Xiao Zhao's arrogant words echoed in the gymnasium. The coach really had nothing to say to the two of them, but this game still depended on the two of them. If you two don't cooperate well, then I'll just let one of you play. You can do as you see fit. The coach had no choice but to say harsh words in the end. Huangbo looked coldly at the Cold War between Hua Gang and Xiao Xiao. He sneered in his heart. Xiao Xiao, who told you to be so arrogant? You finally met your match. Revenge is a dish best served cold. You'll fall into my hands one day. Brother Gang, come drink some water. Don't get angry with people who don't know what's good for you. Huangbo always intentionally or unintentionally approached Hua Gang. You're from grade 1 class 6? Hua Gang took the water and looked up at Xiao Xiao, who was lazily leaning against the railing. Yes, I'm Huangbo. I used to play guard. Huangbo's flattering smile pleased Hua Gang, who had a demon in his blood. I've observed you. You're good at basketball. You just need to improve your jumping ability. You need to practice your accuracy. Hua Gang wasn't stingy with his advice. Huangbo's eyes immediately lit up. I always felt like I was at a bottleneck and couldn't break through. Brother Gang, I finally found the problem. Thank you, Brother Gang. Just like that, the friendship between the two was established. Soon, Hua Gang had an extra follower behind him. Xiao Xiao saw it and sneered. Birds of a feather flock together. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.